We're on YouTube.
Are we?
44
notification that we're live on
44 people waiting for us to go on YouTube. What are they doing?
Hello YouTube, hello
What are they doing?
Facebook, hello the podcast down there.
Hey, you should have
Oh,
notification.
we've got a notification now. We're off and running. We've had a real drama in the 4020 towers, yeah.
In the production.
Scully has got a problem with his image rights, apparently.
All right.
So we're trying to resolve that as we speak. We were going to put a Twitter thing out about Gary, but we won't bother because we don't want to get upset.
We don't recognise any other media apart from ourselves. That's
Hold on, it should be hashtag respectful image. Is that right?
Possibly.
It's a
Hashtag. Do you know what a hashtag is?
Not really. It's just something that's come to my head.
Looks like Canberra have signed someone else. It's all right. It's got a Canberra by the look of it.
Well, it's I'm in Leeds after. I'm working after the programme, so I need to be seen within Leeds, otherwise I'll get run over or something. 2 in the morning.
Okay. Fair enough. Right, we are back. The battle for the bottom. Ooh, it's getting nervy now. By the way, this is the home of Leeds, no longer in crisis.
Yeah.
Well done to the Rhinos.
So you go away for 2 weeks, the Rhinos put the best 2 performances of the season.
I know.
So I think they'll be paying for you to go back on holiday.
Although, to be fair, I had a shocking week on the tipping this week. Everyone got them all right, barring me, I think. And I did actually tip Leeds by 32, so I wasn't far off this week.
Was that 32 after the opposition had a man sent off?
No. Oh, actually, I should have been, shouldn't it? But no, well done to Leeds. They are now the only team in Super League with nothing to play for. Don't anyone come over could still get rid. They aren't getting relegated. That it's done. It's done.
By the way, it was only half of the show that was saying Leeds was in crisis. Not me and my buddy. We had every faith. We had every faith. So it was only half of the show that Leeds in crisis.
Well, to be fair, lads,
always.
there's only 25% of the show in crisis now.
Go on, get ripped in the show, right? Get ripped. Leave Scully alone for one night. Get ripped in the show,
I'm
right?
not a Huddersfield supporter.
Oh, here we go.
Well done, Salford. Shut them cowbells up. Good on you, lads.
Yeah.
So you're in the £250,000 game this weekend then? Whitefield.
Do we get £250,000?
I don't know.
That's what you might lose.
I don't know. It's getting a bit nervy now, really. I think even you, the most laid back. Although what I did notice on holiday, I had a couple of social media bursts myself, but Rich is getting hammered on social media these days. Oh, he's
not just on social media, forums.
He's our new Scully
programs
now.
apparently.
He's our new Scully. Yeah. Oh yeah, he gets hammered.
Do people not get acerbic wit?
No, because I got someone had a go at me for my tweet about Ryan Atkins on Friday, and called it bad journalism. I think I'm not a journalist, but it's not journalism to make a joke about the fact that you once took someone for dinner at Toby Carvery. He's in the news of the world and everything. Don't, as we said.
Is that the lady off Big Brother?
Yeah, as we said on Friday, if you're under 18, do not Google that link. Right, it's a very rude story. Gemma Carter was scandalised by it. She was right. The next month's 4020 magazine, that'll be her column.
So the good news is obviously that Leeds are safe.
Are they bringing out a special kit to celebrate?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. No, well played then. Good wins, back-to-back wins. I think that win at Huddersfield was tremendous, and they followed it up this week with Catalans, who are looking like they might miss out on the top 5. I want to say well done to Salford, and I know you lads. Well, 3 of the 4 last week tipped up Salford to win.
Not 3 of us.
All 3. So there you go, and they did win, and they won well in the end. Worrying times for Huddersfield. Really worrying times for Huddersfield.
You were there.
I was there. Salford just ground them down in the end. Absolutely, thoroughly deserved the win.
It is part of the problem that both Wakefield and Huddersfield's coaches are pointing out they're playing with effort. With 4 games of the season to go and the potential of getting relegated, that's a minimum given, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think...
Where's the quality?
Have you tweeted out the Simon Wolford video on Forty20?
Yes.
So you can watch that, and you know, he said at least no one's asking me this week about effort. You know, at least they had a go. And they did have a go. They just got out and they just got run out of steam. You know.
Do you think both of those coaches know who their best team is going into the last 4
I don't.
games? Because that would be my worry.
I don't
as
think
well.
Simon Wolford does. No, I don't think Simon Wolford
Gaskill
does.
at fullback.
Didn't work. Didn't work. You want him having his hands on the ball.
This is what I'm saying. Did anybody ask Simon Wolford after the game why did he play Gaskill?
I didn't. You know, to be honest, and I really should have done that. My fault. I should have asked him.
You know why play Gaskill at fullback when clearly it's a natural number 6?
Yeah.
And he dropped Tom Holmes the week before to bring Frawley back. This week he had Holmes and Russell. So another new
I thought
combination.
Tom Holmes played alright actually. He made one bad boom, but he made a great break and he made a mess of it, but they scored on the next tackle, so he got away with it. But I thought he played right, Holmes. I think he's looking at Super League half-back at the minute.
So why drop him the week before?
Well, exactly, and that's something you probably have to ask Simon Wolford.
Ollie Russell bought in the squad the week before, but not played. This week he's played.
Yeah.
It sounds like heaping pressure.
They didn't
on
have enough
players.
ball. I think he said they had 11 sets in the second half. You're not going to win a game with 11 sets.
And they ran out of players at the end because of
They did.
injury.
More controversy about head knocks as well. People questioning head knocks, seeing Watson the latest to do that. But his team are in the top 5, and well done to them.
I think we obviously haven't focused enough on the top 5 this season because all the stories have been at the bottom, but we're getting around to deciding who should be the whatever of the year. Coach of the year, I know a lot of people have said.
Hold on, that's one we could do. Scully is the what of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, it'll be clicking now.
Don't put Paul.
Don't put C-facts on.
No. But some people said Danny Ward, which I get because they've overachieved, but they're still the favourites to be relegated. Some people have said Justin Holbrook, absolutely right. If you're focusing on excellence, St Helens have been cut above everybody else this year. But you've got to say, after seeing the league table this week, what Ian Watson's done at Salford with the resource that he's got, to have them in the top 5 and possibly at this stage of the season even the favourites to finish 5th, that's a hell of an achievement.
Well, it is. I mean, we are big fans. It always makes me laugh, the abuse we get about our Salford predictions. Many times we tip them to win and they don't win. And thankfully this week they did. But we've never heard from that Scully, and you've probably led the charge, is that Ian Watson has done a fantastic job. There is no getting away from it.
No two ways about it. And as I say, we know the adversity, what's happened to what he's done and what he's had to handle off the field and on the field. He gets the best out of his players, he gets the tune out of his players, and also as well, the players love playing for him because he wants to play the game in the right way. And as you've mentioned, at times, they've lost teams who, boy oh boy, after you've just hammered Warrington or St Helens a performance of this sort of thing, and you turn in the performance from there. But no, he's done a great job. He's a great coach. But I've got to take Philip on there from a point of view. Yeah, Watson, would you throw him in? Yeah, I think you would throw him in. But to be honest with you, for me, it's two coaches. If Holbrook wins the treble, he gets it. But if he doesn't win the treble, then it's quite simple. Danny Ward is the coach of the year because everybody, us, from pundits to everything what you want to call us, journalism, pundits, whatever, experts, everybody was saying London, they may not even win one game, never mind 0, this sort of thing. They have won what? 8. They have won 8 games. So if Holbrook, for me, if he doesn't win the treble, Danny Ward is the coach of the year. Simple as that.
Fair point. Let us know on 4020 Live on Twitter. You get in touch on the comments on YouTube and Facebook if you want to have your say on that one. It is getting squeaky bum. We'll have a look at the bottom in a bit. I want to ask the question and of the listeners. Warrington. Have the wheels come off at Warrington?
Oh, well,
what's happened?
Well, I think I'll come up with the answer. Without Blake Austin, they can't win anything.
They've signed his replacement like Matty Smith last week.
Well, I don't need to comment about that.
Do you find that a strange sign?
I'll sum that up in one word: laughable. Absolutely laughable. Because it's there for everybody to see. St Helens, who was a major signing with Kieran Cunningham, absolute disaster. He's come there to bring a so-called winning mentality at Catalan Dragons. Absolute disaster. He's been clueless. He's too slow. But what did surprise me when I was told, well, it was you who told me, Phil, and when he told me, realistically, I just pulled up from driving it, and I was taken aback. I thought, hold on, there's 2 people at Warrington there. The head coach in Steve Price, who seems a very intelligent coach and a smart coach. His assistant coach, who is one of the best players that's played in the modern era in Lee Breers as a quality halfback. Surely they can see how he's been playing for Catalans, and then what they're going to do? They bring him in. Well, I'm sorry, but the rested deck pattern, they didn't have to rest deck pattern. They could have played him with that UK from there and just stayed. I think it's a very embarrassing signing because he brought.
Well, is it maybe a worry that Blake Austin might be a little bit more seriously injured than we thought?
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's said, but also too, what's Matty Smith going to bring to Warrington?
Well, they have got Kevin Brown on their books, but they got a dispensation for him. My understanding is Kevin Brown is fit, and Kevin Brown is going to be signing for another club imminently. I think there's a deal done. That's as we're led to believe. There's a deal done, so he's going to be playing somewhere. So their best two halfbacks can't play at the minute.
I would say that, irrespective of their league form and their game at Wigan, could see them now dislodged from second place. That if Blake Austin is seriously injured, they need to come out and say it. Because if they think that people are still buying tickets in the hope that if they've got any chance of winning at Wembley, they have to be honest. They can't leave it till the last minute. They can't try and needle him up. They can't pretend he's going to be playing and then the team sheets come out and he's not there. If he is not fit, and he's not going to be fit,
they won't with Wembley though without an injury, will he? Won't he?
Well, how many players have we seen at Wembley in that? Willie won't he? Even coming into the very last minute.
Willie won't he? Wish he hadn't.
Yeah. Keith Senior, Craig Hubie, Gavin Miller. There are very few teams that can carry a pivotal player who is injured. And I think you're better off coming out early and saying he's not going to be playing than stringing everybody
along. Well, I guess
if
I'm not being rude, but the player, and we are speculating, he might be fit, he might play, we don't know.
Absolutely.
But the players will know, won't they? They'll know. The team will be planning.
Because they'll be doing team runs without him.
They'll be planning whether he is or whether he isn't. So.
But I think they've gone for Matty Smith because they perhaps can see that for the running out after Wembley, they're going to need some experience.
But
and whether it's the right player is
another. Matty Smith has got that experience. Matty Smith was a very, very good player and quality performer for Wigan in that structure. But for what he's done for the last 3 years, what is he going to bring to Warrington? Absolutely nothing.
What do you think they've lost faith in Declan Patton maybe as well?
Well, they can't do because of nobody else. But the young kid who played Riley Dean the other night, surely you've got to play him before Matty Smith. That's what I can't understand. Why they brought Matty Smith in there with two intelligent people on the coaching staff can see surely how bad he has been for Catalans. He's been clueless. He's been too slow. Brought no direction. Brought absolutely nothing to the Catalans.
They could have done with him last Friday at Catalan.
Who could?
It couldn't have been any worse. Catalan. Talking of lack of direction. It's rare that you see a team out on the field who lose a heel against the head, which you don't see in the modern game anyway. And then while the opposition are moving the ball wide to score, most of the Catalan players who were involved in that scrum are stood there arguing with each other.
Yeah,
not a great look.
But again, when you look at the Catalans, and I know Macca goes on at times. Well, we've got to make the journey over the Channel 13, 14 times a season. We might not get a fair crack. We might not get this. That performance on Friday night was absolutely disrespectful to the Catalans club. Honestly, disrespectful to the Catalans club. Yes. And it wouldn't matter who was there. If it was Jack Gibson in charge, if it was Malcolm Reid in charge, if it was Wayne Bennett in charge, they wouldn't be able to change the attitude of them players. Absolutely disgraceful.
Okay, we'll have a chat a little bit more about them. I just want to concentrate on Warrington. I mean, it's not been a great couple of weeks for them, has it? On and off the field, really. They're all the good publicity they were getting early in the years,
for all the way they were promoting the games, making them into events, and this sort of thing from there. So, what I'm finding a little bit hard to understand is, and certainly from the guy who wrote into the League Express last week, knowing that they have a problem with some of the fans and that they go to games for the scrap and to cause trouble. Why are they not being identified?
Well,
why are they not being identified?
There will be. And there's an investigation obviously going into what happened at Catalans. It'd be interesting the timing of that. Well, someone said to me, it'd be interesting when that is done. I don't know what the ticket sales are like for Wembley, but it'd be nice to get a full Wembley before they actually issue any sanctions.
Are the two related? If the club deserves a sanction for not controlling its fans,
well, no. Look, I think we need to wait and see what it is. But my comment is, it'd be interesting the timing of that announcement.
Well, I think it should have come out by now. I don't think there's any excuse for an independent inquiry to take longer than a week.
I want to ask as well the listeners, want you getting involved as well regarding Steve Ganson's comments, because he's finally come out, Steve Ganson. I didn't know he was still existed. I thought he'd gone. I just thought it was his name on the door. We've heard from him. He insists that James Child hasn't been chucked under a bus. Well, he has been chucked under a bus.
Absolutely.
I didn't watch the game in full. I've only seen I can't comment how he reffed the game. I don't know. But to come out, the RFL to come out and say he's not been made a scapegoat, But yet then to drop him, and they'll say, well, we've got 10 referees, so not everyone can referee in Super League. They should have made a point of him refereeing in Super League last week.
Backed him.
It's becoming an issue. I don't know if you've seen it on social media, but one of the football teams in America, their coach got banned for abusing an official, and they've sacked him. The club have sacked him. They've got rid of him. It needs sorting out. This all needs sorting out, and there's too many on the pitch now. At the ref.
Well, if the refs don't want to do it during the game, why don't the match review panel retrospectively ban people for dissent? Say, right, that's it, game ban, back chat to the referee.
Well, we've got the ref's mic open.
Whatever they want.
On every game, whether it's televised or not.
You know what I would propose now? I would propose, right, you do that, and you say, right, this is the ref's mic from this game, and count the beeps or whatever it is, just to actually say, look fellas, we're not having this anymore. You know, I was at the Salford game yesterday. People, the ref was rubbish. The ref had a fine game. So the right team won, Salford won. Neither coach moaned about the refereeing at the end. They moaned about the stop-start. I think that's a different... the referee can't help if someone bangs a head.
Yeah,
he can't do it.
Exactly.
The referee can't do it about that. But people, what they want to do, even when the team has won, they want to moan about an official. Why?
Well, the other thing is, if Steve Ganson's coming out saying that there needs to be more respect to the people that he employs, then two things. Firstly, both coaches after that Warrington-Catalan game criticised the referee. Neither of those have been brought up before any beat.
No.
And then the referee, who should have been at the time... they should have either gone public and said, this is why James Child is refereeing a championship game, because here are the 6 incidents he may have got wrong as a referee. Or they should have just said, rather than just come out and say, you need to have respect for the referees. How can we have respect for the referees when you don't have respect for your own referee?
Yeah, I think they've got
the
that
timing
badly
of
wrong.
that is
I think
awful.
they've got it badly wrong, and it's like, you know, what I'd like to see this week is to, back chatting now, it's 20 yards, we're not messing about.
Yeah.
You chat to the referee,
we don't see enough penalties given an extra 10 for dissent.
No.
That would stop it straight away. And again, in a territory where
what
it's
happened to, it used to be only the
captain.
captain.
Yeah.
Not now, they're all in his
Well, then whoever comes up that isn't the captain, 10 metres.
Yeah.
It's up to the players, said Ganson. If they choose to do it, they should expect the consequences. Referees can penalise, advance the mark 10 metres, sin bin and even dismiss. Captains are entitled to seek clarification on a ruling, but not to continue to debate. Well, Mr. Ganson, tell your referees to do that then. If not, ban them after the fact. Retrospective action.
Needs sorting out that, I think. It's not a good look. All of a sudden we're talking about things off the field and respect to referees instead of we're talking about the rugby again. I don't know why.
Well, again, you mentioned that word there, Matt, respect, and also we mentioned it last week after what happened over at Carlton's, and that's what's going out of the game. Respect, i.e. from supporters on both sides to each other, and also to respect for the officials. I know myself, you know, when I was playing, you know, and a bit of so-called banter with referees at times myself, and I was a captain, so I felt as though I could, you know, maybe have a few words with the officials. But once you start losing that respect, then I'm afraid to say, everything will go out of the window. And also, again, a few people said to me this week, you know, when I'm just out and about, whether, you know, I'm putting pets in the car at the local shopping centre, or all this sort of thing. And people,
the dressing gown.
And again, no, it was after 8 o'clock, so I had to put some clothes on, to be honest with you. But anyway, but what people are saying is, Scott, you know that incident, Catalans, why has not been done about it yet? People, because the fact of the matter is, what happened as well with Warrington and St Helens, allegedly, i.e. from a point of view with the buses, Michael Carter spoke about it, so has Dav Longo at Featherstone from there. If we don't start knitting this now severely, what's going to happen is, you know, again, I mentioned it last week, segregation, but then also as well, what may have to happen, which we don't want, because we don't see many more Rugby League grounds, is having police at the grounds, and we don't want to see that. So we need to knit it severely, as quickly as possible, send out the message, both on and off the field, to get that word back, and it's respect.
Clubs can't afford to be paying.
They can't
afford it.
Nor can they afford.
Well, exactly. You know where I'm coming from.
For alcohol sales to be cut, which could be the next thing that you look at.
But again, Phil, you know, I mean, I've just been on holiday and I've spent probably half my holiday in the bar. didn't have a fight with anyone or abuse. That's a choice, isn't it?
But I think that it may well be that in Catalan, when it's hot, kicking off at 6 o'clock at night, access to alcohol all day, access at the ground, you may have to look at stuff like that. Now, if it was to affect clubs' beer sales and you were pushing those people back into the town where they can be policed, then obviously the clubs need to be wary of that, don't they? It's a material effect on their income. The thing is, if you don't acknowledge what the problem is and what's causing it, you can't solve it.
Well, do you know one thing that I would be suggesting and saying, if this happens again, this is what's happening. You're playing behind closed doors for 2 games.
And that would affect their income.
Massively. That's what I would be doing, because Mark, we have to stop this. We have to.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Gary, I'm not listening.
We have to stop this now, and we have to
acknowledge that we have
there's a problem. Correct, and so again,
and
it's
these are the recommendations.
Correct, and these are the recommendations. What's going on, and if it happens, this is what's going to happen to you. So sort it out. I.e., from what that guy wrote last week in the League Express regarding, yes, we have fans who want to go to a game and just for a scrap. Tell the club and get them identified and get them banned for life.
And I'm sorry,
Simple.
but the only statement we've had is Ralph Rimmer saying
it'll take a month.
That A, it'll take a few weeks, and B, James Child wasn't demoted. If that's all that they're going to say from a governing body point of view, wrong people.
So what happened at Keighley then on Saturday? If anyone was there, get in touch with us. A ball boy and a member of staff were verbally abused. If you're going to a game and abusing a ball boy, you've got serious mental issues and you should be nowhere near the streets, let alone a rugby league game. What kind of morons do that? A number of brawls, sin binnings and red cards involving it. Bring back the biff, by the way. Bring back the biff, don't forget them.
But what's happened on the field has never spilt off into the terraces. We've had loads of games where people have been sent off and players have been charged.
Well, I think it's because they didn't get a team in reserve, so it all very well because of that.
One of the other things I don't understand after that Catalan-Warrington debacle on and off the field is there's a clear dislocation between the match review panel and disciplinary committee. The match review are seeing things and then it's being referred to disciplinary, people are going in and contesting it, and the disciplinary panel saying, well, we're going to have to rescind these because we haven't got the evidence there. Well, how have the match review panel found that evidence? So somebody was let off a headbutt. Now, I would have thought it was pretty much unequivocal if there's been a headbutt.
Do we, and I've mentioned this before, do we need almost like the Mayor of London, if you like, who, he's responsible for X, Y and Z and he'll get voted in or voted out on the back of that? Do we need someone to take hold of our disciplinary process? Have 3 people stand and say, well, I'm going to cut down on X, Y and Z and I'm going to cut down on this and I'm going to cut down on that. And then have them in for a year, and if they do a good job, they'll get voted back in, we'll carry on as they are. I'm with you. The fact that the RFL are standing over an investigation into a Super League game, I don't like that. What's it got to do with them? It's a different competition now. So why are they? It doesn't marry up, does it? And again, and this is a fallout that hasn't been thought about.
Well, and again, so who should have made a statement? Should Robert Elston have got on a plane and gone straight to Perpignan on the weekend that it happened, and on Monday morning said it's our competition and we're not going to stand for it?
Well, this is Robert Elston who moaned at David Fafita about wearing pink shorts on the telly because it didn't look good on the telly. Well, that didn't look good on the telly because I've seen it out in the country and I've still seen it when I'm abroad. So why has he not come out and made a statement?
I don't know.
He's gone quite recently, hasn't he? Barnstonworth 101 was at Keighley versus Huntsville. So it was a scrappy game, but what happened on the field has nothing to do with what happened off it. So why did what happened off it happen? That's the question.
Because we don't have self-censorship amongst the crowd anymore. One of the things that you were saying is, you need to identify people.
Of course you do.
When most of us started watching Rugby League, it was a familial thing. You went with your dad or your granddad or both.
Got a clip round the ear.
You just wouldn't have dreamt of.
In what situation do you abuse a ball boy?
Well, I don't know.
But we have to acknowledge that the mode of spectating is changing in the modern world.
The world's changing. The world's going
but
mad.
We haven't. We just say, no, we're a family game.
Well, I mean, that's laughable. That needs to get rid of as well. That needs to get rid of.
Take it out of the values of the sport, either define it and live up to it, or take it away. And as we said last week, if you think that putting something over a tannoy is going to stop anybody from misbehaving,
that gets totally laughed at.
Yeah, it does.
Totally laughed at.
Here's part 0349. Phil, you must be a miserable bugger at home. It was the same from you last week. Alcohol is a problem at games. Most of us can have a drink responsibly. We don't need it banning. But unfortunately, the people who don't act responsibly.
And it's not, it's not about the vast majority who can. It's about the small minority who can't.
And it's how do you stop it?
Yes.
Right, you either punish everyone, or do you then bring the police in and say, right, I want you to look at them over there or whatever. So that either way, either your pint's going up a quid to pay for the policeman that's there to make sure you can have a pint, but the idiot next to your car. It's very hard.
If you can handle your drink, but you can clearly see somebody who can't, it's your responsibility to point that out to a steward.
Yeah. I've worked behind a bar, and it is illegal to serve people who are obviously drunk. But if you've got a drunk person in front of you and you're getting paid whatever the minimum wage is, with no one around you to protect you.
Yeah. Oh no, look, you can't. Yeah.
We have to take responsibility.
Yeah,
as
you've got
fans.
to self-police it.
Yes.
You have got to self-police
And that's
it.
the
But
point.
there are sadly some people that will go along just for the rumble. You know, and we've seen that before in other sports. And maybe it's a soft target because you can go along, you can get tanked up, you can misbehave, and you'll get away with it.
Our friend at Keithley, who was there, says some fans from one club, not the name which one, because we weren't there, had too much to drink and spent most of the game swearing and slightly yelling abuse at the ball boy. I still don't understand why they would do that. Idiots. Yeah. Especially when they were winning.
But again, going back to the person before, saying you're miserable, there's somebody who was at a game identifying a misuse of alcohol as one of the issues behind an incident that none of us are proud of. If it is an issue, it's an issue, even if it's a minority of people that it affects.
I agree. We need to sort it out, but can I go back? And again, I wasn't here last week and I haven't listened to the full podcast. My apologies.
You were sat around the pool.
I was sat around the pool with Stella in behind shouting abuse at the pool guy. No, I wasn't. That didn't happen. Was it the behaviour on the pitch that had any impact on it? And what did the RFL do about the behaviour on the pitch?
I would say...
Because from what I saw, it was a disgrace, and yet no one's got banned, or very few have got banned.
One of the issues, I think, is the fact that historically, everything that you might term macho and aggressive has occurred on the pitch. So as spectators, it doesn't affect you. What was the point of trying to pretend you're harder than the guys who are out there? They are the true warriors.
Yeah.
And the number of games that Scully will have played in or seen or been part of, particularly international clashes, everything that happens on the field doesn't need to be replicated off the field. And I can understand in some other sports when there's nothing happening on the field or very little happening on the field, you make your own entertainment off the field, whatever that may be. So I don't think there's any excuse at all for what happened on the pitch should affect what happens on the terraces.
Okay.
I don't think that is... I think there needs to be an issue with, did the clubs control their players sufficiently? And if they didn't, then they should have been fined.
At what point? I know at local cricket that if you as captain don't control your players, it's you that gets banned. Do we maybe need to look at that and say, right, captain, we've looked at all these incidents, you haven't done X, you haven't done Y, sorry, but you're getting banned for a month or 2 weeks or whatever.
I've told you to go back to your players.
Yeah, and you haven't done it.
And you haven't done it well enough because they're still doing it.
Yeah. Alright, just maybe, let's concentrate on what's the rugby then.
Concentrate on not the rugby. Here's David. He says, he sent this to us earlier, you criticise the John Wells Sky Cast conflict. No, we don't. We've questioned him, we're not criticised it. But from League Express we learned that Stuart Cummings was defence counsel for Kenny Edwards. Well, it's a separate thing, isn't it? Just because he's on the telly doesn't mean he can't be a witness in a case which is a shambles, but there you go. He did nothing. He did nothing wrong, Kenny Edwards.
No. He did that little wrong that Remy Castle looked like he was going to belt him.
Apart from that.
Didn't he? What do we make it? I mean, well, it's... a lot of people are critical of Stuart Cummings, and again, they would say that him being on the telly undermines the referees on the field. So,
and I think Steve Ganson said that when he talks about commentators. He was talking about we've got to look at the spectators, coaches, and commentators showing more respect to match officials. Well, the only commentator that doesn't really show respect to the match officials is the bloke whose job it is to point out the error that the match officials probably.
The good news for Steve Ganson is, of course, all the local radio commentators who have a go at.
So is he a lawyer now off the field?
No, he's just an expert witness, I guess.
So Catalan's had called it there because he was watching the game.
He's just an expert witness.
And he said, well, and
Former
so he said, no, Kenny hasn't done anything.
I can't, but I couldn't believe he didn't get banned. So
Well, I'll tell you what, he better get to a well-known optician because it was absolutely disgusting. And when you just mentioned it there, Mark, the captain himself, Castor, you know how he stopped himself from.
He was going to knock him out. That's what I thought.
His own captain was going to rip into him because he was there to play. He was there plainly for everybody to see. He was inciting.
Not guilty.
He was
Not
inciting.
guilty.
He was inciting the
Not
crowd
guilty.
to carry on.
What I don't understand is going again back to the match review panel. Thought it was a sufficiently a sufficient offence that he had to appear. And there was talk of anything up to a 4-match ban for a grade C.
Was it contrary behaviour or something, wasn't it?
But he's found not guilty. There is clearly something wrong in the 2 days between one set of people looking at pictures and saying that's what happened, another set of people with representation being told it didn't happen. So something is wrong. The other thing is...
so again, do we need a czar almost to come in and say, I'm cleaning the game up? This is what's happening. This is what we're doing. If you don't like it, then you can get rid of me in a year's time. But this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of it.
I think...
I don't know if you heard what I said last week. You know, if I was in charge of the game, what punishment I would give out, I would have given it out straight away. You know, I've seen it clearly. I've seen it all myself, so I don't need anybody else to try and tell me.
The only thing is you don't know what started.
Well,
because I think you've got to be there to know if there is.
Clearly, for me, if I'm in charge of Super League, if I'm Robert Elson, exactly what I said last week. You know, I'd have the 2 chairmen in, I'd have the 2 CEOs, the 2 coaches, and the 2 captains. There's no blame on you. There's no blame on you. It's 100% you two. You both clubs have caused what's happened, and it's as simple. I've seen everything from there. I don't need anybody else to tell me about A, B, C, and D up till Z. You're to blame. You're to blame 100%. There's no blame game. It's 4 points, and it's under grand fine. Off you go. That is me. We've got to make a statement. We've got to put a punishment out, and a severe one as soon as quickly as possible.
Well, look, there might be a big punishment coming.
Do you think there will be?
Well, yeah, I do. I do.
I'm just concerned.
I do. I just don't like it already.
Well, exactly. Well, exactly.
You know, you look at the football again. If you get an FHI, if you hit someone off the ball or whatever, it's picked up. They go, right, you've got a letter. Here it is. You've got until 7 o'clock tomorrow to respond, or you're getting banned for 3. That's it. There's no airs over it. You're getting banned.
But it's like what you said about with the image. You know what Mr. Austin said about for feeding the pink shorts. If that happened last week in Catalans, if that happened, as we said last week, if that happened in Australia. Oh, listen! 48 hours. They would have been absolutely hammered because it's the image of the sport. It's the sponsorship of the sport. It's the TV rights. It's the participation. It's families who are watching the game. The Aussies, and I'm not copying the Aussies at anything, as we all well know. But the Aussies would have made sure they were punished within 48 hours.
Panel, haven't they? They have got a panel of people that rule on exactly this kind of thing. We don't have it.
We are.
And one of the things...
Why are we? You know, I'm going to produce this. Why are we pretending that there's nothing wrong with the game? Why are we pretending?
We're 3 weeks out from the Challenge Cup semi-finals, aren't we, in Bolton? 3 weeks ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we know 100% that some Hull FC fans racially abused someone, what's happened to that 3 weeks on? When we know 100%.
Yeah.
That's racist abuse.
He's got evidence of it, hasn't he?
We know 100% that's racist abuse.
Yeah.
What's happened? 3 weeks on. The panel is corrupt, says Karen. No, she's not talking about us. Otherwise, we'll get your lawyer, or get our lawyers on to you. We'll get Stuart Cummings on the phone. The problem with the panel is, because people know who's on the panel, they make their own assumptions about the people on the panel, their links to clubs, and the punishments dished out. And we've done this before. We're not doing it again because it was one of the worst shows we ever did.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's
so we're not doing that
it's
again.
got to be seen to be above that level, and that's why if you have someone whose job is on the line, if they don't do what they say they'll do, then you get rid of them.
Correct.
And that then brings an air of integrity about it, but it's above reproach, isn't it?
Well, I also think, going back to if Stuart Cummings has represented the Catalan players, that's absolutely fine. Stuart Cummings shouldn't then be on the broadcast where Catalan are playing 4 days later, without at least the rider at the start saying, I have a vested interest in this team. I've helped at least 3 of those players that are out there today.
And I think that was the question about John Wells.
Yes.
When he's asked
But
a pretty good question.
Yeah.
He can't answer it because he has got a vested interest. Yeah. And
so don't put him on.
So you can't have him
Castle, all we've said is not that he shouldn't be on.
He's just not on when Castle.
Just not on when Castleford are on. And the question was quite rightly asked a fortnight ago about Greg Eden. It's now all in the public domain. He's been in court.
Didn't play this week.
No, and John Wells was asked about it, and John Wells chose not to answer it. If that had been about another club, John Wells, I'm sure, would have had an opinion on whether we needed an integrity. There's a stand-down clause in Australia. If you are in court, whether you're found innocent eventually or not, as soon as you're in court, you're stood down. That's the whole thing with Jack DeBellin. And one or two other players. We don't operate that here. At the moment, it's a very good question to ask amongst the panel on the television. If one of the people on that panel on the television refuses to answer it because they've got a conflict of interest about who the player is, something is wrong.
Fair enough.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, which everyone on the internet loves, we've had one on YouTube from, I'm just laughing at Sid's tweet. I think that's a conflict of interest there, we can't talk about it. Players who are due to appear in events, brackets, Challenge Cup finals, have always been protected to enable them to appear in these finals. Chris Hill should have had a 3-game ban. It's pathetic, says Anthony. Social media. Still might get back. Pete, dear me. Can't read that one up. No. Liam says, I'll show you in a minute. Liam says, points deductions don't work in Rugby League. All you get is clubs taking the IFL to tribunals and eventually getting the points back. And it ends up costing the IFL money. As Wakefield did, got those 2 points back.
Well, then you go, and this is the point I have, is why the RFL looking after a Super League matter. If Super League dish out the punishment and it's agreed by all the clubs, this panel that's final, you can't chat, that's it. They won't do it. You knocked 2 points off Catalan and Warrington now. I'd say even if you knock 2 off, they're in a bit of trouble. They're in a bit of trouble.
Who runs what? We've got 2 different governing bodies for the sport running different things. Sometimes the same thing. Who's in charge?
Yeah, but you see, that is a part of the split that no one's ever thought about and gone, oh, hang on, we need to sort this out.
Oh, disciplinary comes under you, but it's our competition.
Yeah, and again, it needs sorting out. They need to sort it out. And I'm thinking along the same lines of Gary. We need to act on this now. Don't let this carry on. I've been for years on this show, and one thing I will credit: we do not discuss refereeing performances because there's nothing good to be said about criticising a referee. We can't coach them and make them better.
And if you work on the basis that there's any bias within the referee, then you probably shouldn't be watching sport.
Well, I've said this before many times, Phil. The minute that you actually realise that shouting at the referee will not improve your enjoyment of the sport, stop shouting at him, you'll enjoy the game a bit more.
And if you're a player, stop questioning every decision because he's not going to change it. He's never going to change it.
Exactly. We need to really get.
I learned that plenty of times in my day. Don't worry about that. As I've mentioned a few times, the great Fred Lingdop. You went to Fred, and all Fred said was 10. Fred, it's 10. By the time you finished, you were defending your own try line. Oh no, there were no rubbish in them days. And players.
How many times did you get sin-bin for dissent?
I got sin-bin 19 times and sent off once. So I think I got sin-bin twice. I think for fighting. So 17 times, just having a quiet word with the officials in a polite way.
It's just the wrong word, isn't it?
In a polite way, but we need to get respect back.
We're the only sport that we rely on. The hardest part of the sport is gaining territory. We are the only sport that has as a sanction the ability to take that territory away.
Well, that's why I said 20 metres. 20 metres now. And then you can kick it. Oh, that could be a 60-yard loss. And you get done chatting to the referee, I'm picking the coach who's going to wall you up in the dressing room.
Well, I'll tell you what, go one stage further, sin-bin him and take him 20 yards. Hey, this prevention is a cure. Prevention is the cure, and if these are outlined, this is what is going to now start to happen. So if you don't, this is what's going to happen. I'll tell you what, they'll soon stop it. They'll soon stop it without a doubt. And we've got to do it. We've got to start doing it as soon as possible.
Not just make bland statements saying everybody's got to be nice.
It's like the Prime Minister saying.
Look. Here's a credit as well to the game. They changed the rules about the play of the ball when you're playing it into man or you're throwing it at the man. The referee yesterday, there was one, and I forget even which team it was, were begging for a penalty, and the guy ref went, "You're not having it.
Yeah.
Pick the ball up
Yeah,
and pass it.
Yeah.
You're not getting a penalty." And it was like, great. He just cut it out. Stop doing it.
Cheating. Stop cheating.
But
Simple
because
as that.
everyone now knows you're not going to get away with it, like you said, if it's 20 yards.
Yeah. Prevention's a cure.
And if certain players do spend far too much of their time waving their arms about appealing, penalise them. Whether they're in possession or not. You know, if you're... And hookers are probably the worst because they're always wanting to speed up the play of the ball.
Yeah.
But if you're spending a lot of
the
time
ref-
shouting at the referee and waving your arms, even if you're in possession...
Again, I
just
think
do
the ref
ball.
yesterday gave a couple of penalties against teams playing the ball, messing about, trying to hold people or push people.
Yeah.
Not having it.
Roy's apologised for shouting because he left his caps lock on, but I don't care. So he should give a penalty every time a player waves his hands about begging for a penalty.
Well, they had that in football, right, didn't they? When they went, if you wave the yellow card, you get booked, but that didn't last
Do
long.
the imaginary VAR.
Yeah, that didn't last.
Well, too many of our players now are trying to get other players sin binned. That's crept into our game.
Yeah,
They're seeing an offence.
yeah.
Now people are saying all the referees in the past who were robbing them, so that's good. James is waiting for Scully to get in that bath of mushy peas.
Well, a lot of people have been wondering what's happened to Scully's hair.
Yeah.
What's going
It's
on there?
disappeared.
Have the council been round today or what? That's a bit close. Did you have it on
Did you
the
fall
wrong
asleep
setting?
in the chair?
Did you have it on the
I
wrong
don't,
setting?
I don't know why. Anyway, because I normally get it shot back inside and it's grade 0.5 in there. So, and it's normally 2 or 3 on top. So anyway, I just said to him, take it all off. He went, are you sure? I went, take it. He said, well, when you first started coming here, we used to have scissors on it, you know, leave a little bit on, and then you went to 3 and then 2. So then I'll just take it off. He went straight down the middle. I went, oh no. He went, I told you.
We were on the floor.
Anyway, it's grown a little bit since the weekend, but to be honest with you, lads, it's going too grey. Honestly, at 46 years of age, I'm going to have a full head of hair.
I'd love to have some grey.
Well, I could grow my back, you know. Anyway, we'll say no more. But you know, I'm getting a full head of grey hair, and I don't want it. You know,
It's distinguished.
at my age, I don't want a full head of grey hair.
It's because you kept talking to referees, isn't
At
it?
46 years of age, I don't want to be the silver foxes yet, mate. It's the silver fox, I don't want it. Yeah.
Sorry,
The silver
I was
fox.
going to tell a story now.
The silver fox with the bath of mushy peas, that'll look good, won't it?
We've been told to ask you about
Yeah.
your sending off.
Versus Saints in '95.
Yes, it was, yes. Actually, the man was just Stuart Cummins. Yeah, Stuart Cummins, yeah. And it was just before half-time, and we were getting beat by St Helens. I think it was about 28-6. Anyway, just before half-time, put Kevin Iro through a gap. He would give it to Allwood there. Anyway, pulled it back for the forward pass from me. And I just ripped in. You know, because it was frustration. I just ripped in. And I walked away and I just thought, well, I know what he's doing, so I looked back, he had a card. And as I'm just getting to the sideline, touch judge, like a bit of a smirk, so I ripped into him. And I ripped in, I didn't hold back, fellas. So as I ripped into him, I turned round and went straight back to Cummins. And just, I should never ever have said what I did anyway. Got the red card, but the thing about it, 12 minutes second half, Leeds ended up beating St Helens in the second half with 12 men and went to the Premiership final, which Wigan easily beat us. But when I got the referee's report, I felt absolutely degraded. And to be honest with you, when I went to the disciplinary committee, Derek Fox, ex-referee, he was the chair of it. We all mucky up, bless you, so Atkin was on the left and the great Neil Fox to the right. So I went, oh, hey, Atkin, you alright, Foxy, you alright? And I thought, I shouldn't be saying that. So when I'm sat at the end of the table, and then when Mr. Fox is reading out what I said to the officials, mate, to be honest with you, I would just literally slide under the table because I felt.
I'm going to tell a tale out of school now. One of my mates got done for being drunk and disorderly. The nicest lad, but he just got drunk. And he said to his dad, "Oh no, I didn't say it, And same thing. We went to court. And they read it out, the policeman's statement, and you could see him going lower and lower in his chair.
I was getting lower, and anyway, Jeff Keefe, who did all the admin for the disciplinary, whatever. Anyway, he gave me the sheet when I said, I didn't know I'd been sued 19 times, and I thought, Jesus. Anyway, he said to me, he said, Scotty, he said, I know what you're going to get. He says, they've discussed it, but you know, because of your record, you're going to get in 2 games. But if you want for your record, I said, the way that
if you want for your record, you're getting subbed 19 times for abusing a thing. If you'd only had 17, you got away with it.
And I got 6 matches. But honestly, mate, I felt 2 inches tall for when you know for the
And
wet ready
I
out.
assume you never did it.
Oh no,
Which again, we go about prevention is better than the cure.
Yeah.
So all them people abusing Stuart Cummings and he sent Scully off. What else?
Did Sean O'Loughlin nearly take someone's head off this week? Or was that another week?
Yeah,
No,
when
he
injured his pec against Hull.
Oh, right.
He caught him
Costa's
on
had
goal,
it,
didn't he?
yeah, I didn't see it. But Stephen's saying that's why people get annoyed because Singleton was sent off and he wasn't. I didn't see it, so. Okay. But Singleton did hit someone in the head, so he should.
Yeah, and even Phil, you seem to think it was a fair.
No,
fair
it was a
cop
fair,
sending.
and so was Brad Singleton. You know, there's absolutely no question that anybody at the club is going to contest that. He will take his punishment because he knows that it was a clumsy, ugly, mistimed tackle on the tallest guy on the field. When you lay him out and take him off his feet, you don't have a defence. So, you know, even Stuart Cummings couldn't have got him off that charge. You know.
Don't hit people in the head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In this era, people are complaining, by the way, about doctors and whether they take players off the field quickly or not. As apparently this may have happened yesterday in the Salford Huddersfield game.
Right.
Head knocks.
Yeah, and again, you'll see it on 4020 Live. Ian Watson did. He questioned. I forget the wording. It'll be on the. It's on the web. It's on the website.
Well, it's the Huddersfield doctor who took his place off.
Yeah. Well, let's get things right then. Right. 3 players got injured in the last 20 minutes of the game.
Salford or Huddersfield players?
Well, 5 if you include the Salford.
Oh, right.
players.
Okay. Right.
Matt English had a clash of heads. Flanagan, I'm thinking. Flanagan got up to play the ball. He was all right. English was a bit iffy. They let him stay on the field. Not criticising it. Next tackle, he went to tackle someone around the legs. He got knocked out. He was out. And him getting taken off the field, we commented on the radio. He looked drunk. He did. His legs had gone. So much so that about halfway off, he actually collapsed. And if the lads hadn't been older, he'd have just fallen over. So he was napped, and he'll be out now. And in fairness to Simon Wolford, when you sit in front of Simon Wolford at a game, you know exactly what Simon Wolford's thinking. And Simon Wolford was furious with Matt English for getting his head in the wrong place, and he got concussed, and he's out. I don't know. When he went in the dressing room, I bet they didn't even bother with an head test. No, it's all right, son. You sit down. But he'd just come on. He'd come on, so they're not going to want him to go off a minute after coming on. So that he's gone. Ollie Roberts came on, same thing, got a bang on the head, he stayed down. Huddersfield had the ball, he had no reason to stay down. It wasn't like he was trying to buy time. He came off, he passed his test, went back on. And then Adam O'Brien, who people forget, a month ago on that very ground got knocked clean out for about 5 minutes. He got knocked on his own line and he stayed down behind the line for about a full set while Huddersfield were defending the line, and eventually he got took off. And I think a lot of people were thinking, well, he didn't look injured when he went off, but he's had a concussion 4 weeks ago, and he's got a whack on the. He's a tough little bugger, Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And he clearly, and again, he'd only come on 15 minutes. It's not like he were blowing out of his backside. I think I need to get off.
He likes to play long minutes.
Yeah,
right, doesn't he?
So I would argue that the 3 guys that went off for the head test, I don't know if O'Brien passed or failed either, by the way, but of the 3 players, they'd all pretty much just come on. So I don't think there was any skullduggery in that. I really don't think that. But what happened, it all happened within 10 minutes, and then Salford had a player got injured, and Joe Wardle cut his head, that had to get bandaged up, and it felt like the game was stopping. It felt like, you can see why Salford fans would be frustrated that the game was stop, tackle, stop. It was just one of those things. I think they all were absolutely stonewall genuine injuries, and it just happened that they all happened at the same time.
So I think I want to throw in here then, because I don't know if you saw it last week about Rugby Union. They're on about bringing in a testing situation where you can only tackle below the waist.
Well, they've brought in tackle below the chest,
well,
haven't they?
what they're going to be experimenting very, very soon is tackling below the waist. So the question I'm asking you, Mark, is the head injuries yesterday, was it because of the tackle here, was it head knocks head to head, or was it knee or hip?
My English clashed heads with a Salford player, complete accident, and then he got hit. He must have been that far off the floor. He was trying to tackle his kneecaps, and the kneecaps hit him straight in the head, and he's gone down.
Right.
So that one, the Roberts one, I think he actually had the ball. He was driving it in, and I don't whether he got it. I couldn't tell you. And the O'Brien one again, I think it's just tackling on his own. Well, you know, Adam O'Brien tackles on the legs.
But they say Rugby Union now, they're going to be experimenting and bringing in.
You can't do that in Rugby League though, because it'd be just one continuous tackle. You just offload the ball.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but with concussions now and all this sort of thing and protocols, as we all know, the health and safety, would it be brought into our game where you can, I know I would do it, I said before, you can only make 2 men in the tackle.
The thing that is interesting is the doctor whose name I can't remember, but was the feature of the film Concussion. the guy who exposed the fact that American football hadn't done enough to protect its players, and that ended up in a £1 billion lawsuit. He has come out in an interview, I think, with a New Zealand newspaper, even though he's based in California, saying that he thinks within the next 10 years there will be no contact sport, and that anybody under the age of 18 shouldn't play contact sport. Now, whilst that may or may not be right, it may be wrong, it may produce evidence, while we're playing under that kind of scrutiny, then rugby union will be trialling only tackling round the waist, and it is something we're going to have to be aware of.
Bring back the biff though. We need to bring back the biff.
Those days have gone.
I know one thing I would bring in. I would bring back the 5 metre rule.
Yep.
I think that might happen.
I would bring back the 5 metre rule, and then I would experiment then with only 2 men in the tackle. I would.
Yeah, but I think what the issue that you quite rightly bring up about rugby union is you've got to be seen to be doing something. And if what we're
they do though.
And what we're seen to be doing is going back to 5 metres, then as a sport, you just say we are taking on board the increased evidence that prolonged concussion is something that we have to be aware of.
Again, Phil, you go back, was it the start of last year it changed, the chest tackle, and they were getting people getting sin bin sent off and they're all up in arm. Well, it stopped, didn't it? They all stopped doing it, they quickly realised you can't do it.
You can't do it.
You can't do it. So they will, they will learn.
And Andrew Heffernan, who, this time last year was at Hull, had four concussions. He's still suffering the symptoms of them. 23 years of age. He's had to give up the game. The likelihood is
wasn't he the same as well? Goulding for Wigan here. Pack in as well.
But what Heffernan has said in an interview this weekend is that he can't even remember now having the HIAs. He's clearly passed some of them and gone back out, but he can't remember.
This is why the people criticising O'Brien yesterday. He's had to, if he's got a concussion, then he's going to be out for a while, and I think that's what's going to have to happen. I think they are going to have to say, right.
And don't blame a referee for a game being stop-start if it's anything to do with the head. Because the fact is that they will be one of the bodies that will be deemed to have been culpable in all this. If a doctor's come on and he's alerted the referee to the fact that there might be an issue, if the referee overruled him and says, "Oh no, we need to have a quicker play of the ball," won't happen.
Go and do it.
Something serious is going to happen accidentally because all these things happen.
What do I say about the NFL? About helmet? They wear helmets, right? What they all do? They go around headbutting each other when they do something good. They smash helmets, right? The other day there was one on Twitter. Pet hate of mine on the NFL, the guy got smashed, and I mean he got smashed. His helmet comes flying off. Now his helmet's come flying off. If a guy had come from the other side and smashed him, he might have killed him. And yet they wear a helmet and they don't put the bloody strap on. And you just think, man, what are you doing? It just annoys me. But you're right, one day, a quarterback, he'll get it, his helmet comes off and someone will smash him. Fractured skull, whatever. The problem is, it needs stopped.
I know that there's ex-players on Twitter, and I called them out last week and said, pound chop hardmen or whatever. We have to protect them from themselves because they want to be the big hard men. Half of them are just playing at it. The real ones just get on with it.
We saw just before half-time on Friday night at Headingley, Conrad Hurrell gets sin-binned because Greg Bird was tipped over the horizontal. The reason that is a penalty and players get sin-binned is because, unfortunately, of Alex McKinnon. You have to respond. You have to rule that out.
Interesting comment that Ian Watson did make yesterday, and one that I've picked up on recently, is the ball in the air, man goes to compete for it, touches the other guy, it's all of a sudden it's a penalty now. It's almost like you can't. So I thought McGilvery got away with one. I thought he jumped for a ball, he missed it, hit him on the head, and he went, oh, my head. And they'll give a penalty, and I thought, I don't even think anyone touched you there, But all of a sudden, that's coming out of the game now. Now in rugby union, you tackle a man in the air, you get sent off, don't you?
I think again, it's the definition of contesting for the ball. So I think we saw in the 8-point try when Wigan played Hull that the reason it was an 8-point try was because Farimo's leap was into the man and not looking up trying to get the ball.
But what I saw yesterday,
if they are genuinely contesting the ball, it shouldn't just automatically.
I forget who the Huddersfield player was. He kicked it and he basically just ran and jumped as he was jumping it all the sort. I mean, he caught it. But you think, well, if you're jumping into them, they can't.
If they can't get the way, they can't get the way, can they?
Yeah. So it's again, I think that's something that needs tidying up. Clearly, Ian Watson wasn't happy with that. And he wasn't wanting at the ref about it. He was just saying, "What's the rule? Can we touch him? Can't we touch it?" They're kicking at Chris Wellham, who was really good in the air. But if he can't touch the other guy,
maybe it's in Steve Ganson's statement today about how we need to respect the officials is what the actual rules are.
People are asking whether tea and biscuits are. It's not 7 o'clock yet.
Come on.
Daniel's been on, and I'm confused because I'm never sure what's going on the programme on Saturday, but it passes me by sometimes. He says, glad to hear the reasons the 4020 Live guys don't criticise. Looking forward to hearing, listening in the future, and not hearing any criticism of players, the IFL, the way clubs are run, the way the sports and blah blah blah. I've no idea what we've said.
Well, no, I said I don't want to criticise referees.
Yeah, well, we've always said that.
Yeah.
You don't like it, go listen to everyone.
Does it change the result, Daniel, if you moan about the referee or criticise him or call him names?
I can't think of a single game in the thousands I'll have watched where the referee has been the reason for the result.
How do we make the referees better?
Well,
someone
that's
answer
by
this
not
question.
demoting them to the championship
Someone tell me how we make the referees
Well,
better.
hold on. This is a genuine question, right? And we had this chat with Ian. We had this chat with Ian Smith the other week. Can you name all the first-class referees? We can't, as in the full-time ones. He also read us a list of people who've quit refereeing in the last 3 years or whatever. That is what worries me. How many people?
Or if you're a young kid looking at the abuse or reading about it, why you would want to take up the whistle in the first
I know we say the numbers out of 10 are a load of crap. Why do they rate the referees out of 100 in League Weekly? What good does that do?
Oh, I'd like to know what Daniel. I mean, he's a big Salford fan.
I think he was there yesterday. He wasn't happy with the refs.
I just don't get that, Dan. And I mentioned it. You know, you're a sensible fan. You back your team. I don't see why the referee was so bad yesterday. I really don't. The best team won quite easy in the end. The referee had nothing to do with it.
I should have asked John Davidson how any player from Catalan's got above 2 for that performance. We should be like the French newspapers who use the full 1 to 10. If a player's crap, they go with the 1. They're not messing around with the French.
Go, what's his Aussie mate? Give the Catalans. Let's rip it.
Right, Gigot, 5.
We've got to do it because he's won up in Ashes, so we've got to rip into him.
Tony Gigot, 5. Song. David Mead, 4. Romano, 4. Braden Walliam, 5. Tierney, 4. Bird, 5. Langy, 5. Brusquet, 5. Da Costa, 5. Simon, 4. Edwards, 5. Whitley, 6. Casti, 6. Gudemond, 4. Albert, 4. Maria, 4. Cassiano, 5.
Everybody sees the game different.
Brad Singleton got 4. And he was on the pitch for less than most of these Catalan players, and he played more of an impact in the game. They were terrible. That was the worst performance I've seen from a team all season. I said
and you watched Wakefield.
Well, I said to you.
Hold on. 5 minutes, he's just time. He's just taking one in the way. Dooley's there, is Rich.
Felix took us to around 25 to get us home back. Well done, son. That's a great comeback. That is the best kick return. That has got to be the best kick return since we've been doing this show. How long have we been doing it now? 5-6 years. That is an absolute quality kick return.
Working like 2 hair scoring.
Tell you what, Richard Shaw right there. He's knocked on. He's done everything, man. He's knocked out, kicked out on the full lot.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioned Tuilagi.
That was when Tuilagi was crap.
No, you mentioned him now. Yeah, yesterday. Salford had the ball in their own 20 and Alford picks it up and goes straight down the middle, runs straight at the fullback, draws up, Gaskell goes to tackle him, passes it like literally Mickey Hughes going, like lobbed it to him, Lola here, you think, try, dropped it. And it was like everyone went, oh, don't believe you just did that.
It was in the breadbasket as well.
Oh, mate, it was... He knew it was like getting the kicking team and it was like,
quite well though, Ollie.
He played alright, but it was just one of them where you think,
3 games.
how is he? And you know what? He scored one at the end, Evans. I can't believe Niall Evans, by the way, races 50 metres. He could have scored in the corner. Pass it to Lola here. Lola here's like walking over the line. The Huddersfield player jumped on him and slapped him, and he just fell over the line with it. It was like, it was funny. But when he dropped that pass, everyone in the ground went, I do not believe he's just done that.
Denise says, why don't we invite Steve Gantz on? Because the last time we had someone from the disciplinary panel on, it was the worst show we ever did. Said that
Gantz would be alright. I've done this an evening.
Said he'd come on.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, then
Good. We'll get him on then.
Get him on the week after he sent somebody off.
Robert Hicks was very good the week he came on.
Yeah. You know what? The referees generally, to be a referee, and everyone says, you've got to be a certain type of player. I also think you've got to be a certain quality of person as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, 100%.
So yeah. So we're not.
If you won't walk in the shoes of the people, don't criticise.
Yeah, and as for Danny, again, I'm not picking on Dan. He's kind enough to comment in, and he's a regular contributor. He knows how much abuse we get when we get the things wrong. So come on, Can't have it everywhere.
Yeah, not as much praise from Salford fans.
I'll tell you what,
It's not what we're all taking them.
I'll still be top of the league because I got 6 out of 6 again this week.
Yeah, well, never mind. We've stopped talking about that. Anything
People
happening?
want us to talk about the games.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
Where do
Cameron
you
was
want
crap. That was there. I watched it and everything. Leeds were all right. People like Leeds.
Leeds
Martin,
were all right. What would you give them out of 10?
about a 6 or 7. They didn't have to be
Well,
good.
as I say, Rich, you mentioned that performance now. First of all, what I want to say is, I think Richie Agar has got to tune out the players. I think the way that the players are talking about Richie Agar, the respect what they're giving him, and also too, he's got that.
Give it to Giggsy. Give it
He's
to
got the
Giggsy.
smile back on the players' faces, and what the players are doing as individuals, they're identifying their own roles, and they're doing it very well as individuals, and as a team collectively, they're coming in from there. So I tell you what, for me,
Can I put my head above the parapet here and say,
Richie Agar should get the Leeds job.
having given Sinfield quite a bit of stick earlier in the year,
I
don't
was just
now
gonna-
need to say, well, they brought in Louis, alright, he's
What
doing
you
alright. They
can
brought
say-
in Martin, he seems to be going really
Yeah.
well. The players they've brought in have made an impact.
4 players
Yeah.
who, early enough, because
Yeah.
there's been some recruitment by some of the other teams that it smacks of whoever is available, we need to get them. We have to have change for change's sake. The 4 players they've got have all bought something different that they need.
Yeah, and
So
fair, it's only fair we
Lunt
mention
Lunt would be the first one. A lot of people said, why on earth would Leeds take Sean Lunt? For the 20 minutes of every game that he started, he's just calmed everything down. Virtually takes the right option out of dummy half every time. And Brad Dwyer then is an impact player. So that's worked. Robert Louis coming in purely as a bespoke standoff has calmed everything down around him. So, Richie Marler is a better player. You say, his strength is his support play. Scored 2 great tries on Friday as a support player. Because he's got Louis doing the kicking.
Well, let me say this then about Richie Marlowe on Friday night. That's his best game he's played for Leeds because...
Hold on. I heard a
I'm telling
rumour
you.
you were smashed at this game. Are you being honest now, or
listen.
is someone told you played well and you
Listen,
can't remember?
I've said it. I think I only had about 14 pints of San Miguel, so I wasn't drunk to be honest. But
Yeah,
beforehand,
you've had 4,
and
that'd
I
be
said
you.
it in my column today. That was the best game I've seen Richie Marlowe play for Leeds because he wasn't, because they brought Louis in to do that job, what Richie Marlowe cannot do. It was back to his best as a support player and scored 2 brilliant tries.
What did you give him
Brilliant.
out of 10?
Richie Marlowe, I would have given Richie Marlowe on Friday night, I'd have given him a 9.
Wow.
You see?
No
It's
danger.
happened. It's
No
happened.
danger. No
What
danger.
time is it?
No
Make
danger
it up,
whatsoever.
put it in the minutes.
No danger whatsoever.
And
It's going nice to Richie
The other
Marlowe.
2 they brought in, Samana Fanai, who's given them some physical presence, and Reece Martin, who looks like he could be a real player in the Super League. And there are some players that perform better in the British competition than perhaps they would have done in the more structured
Where's he
Australian.
got that pace?
Well-
it looked like him, because I saw the back of him a few times when I played in Australia, Wayne Pearce. He just looked like he had the pace of a young Wayne Pearce.
Well, they can't
back in the
make
days.
those new rules where you can't tackle.
No, right, okay. But also, too, he kicked 10 out of 10 as well, which,
So I think, whatever reservations you've had about recruitment, the one thing that's got Leeds probably out of the relegation fight, because we said 20 was, we thought might be the number of points you needed, it's the recruitment.
But also as well, Phil, the senior players have turned up. They're hitting consistent form from there now.
Yeah.
Richie Agar's getting a tune out of the players.
He's pared it all back. He's made it simple for
the
them.
players like playing for him. And I'll tell you, I'd give Richie Agar the Leeds job.
I think the issue on that is, does he want the Leeds job?
To be honest with you, I think he does. I'd say he does.
I'm not sure he
Why
does.
not? Why would
Because
he not
I
want the
think
job?
he's got security of tenure in the role that he came for, which was a development role, which you don't get when you're a head coach. He's been the head coach. Rich will tell you some of the abuse that he had at Wakefield and at Hull. But all of the players that played under him seemed to think he was doing the kind of job he's doing at Leeds. Does he need it? He's been there, he's done it.
Well, to be honest with
Does he need
you,
it?
I don't think. I know Kevin's done it when he was sat with Jimmy Laws and he was sat with David Fernie, but he sat there next to Ridgey from there, and they've. We're not hearing any rumours that they're looking for any of the coaches. We're not seeing Gary go out to Australia like Mike Rush's done. We're not seeing Kevin going out there from there. So, yeah, I reckon.
I think they're solid till the end of this year. They know exactly what they want.
They're solid, but also as well.
But next year might be different.
But
They
I
may
think,
bring somebody
well,
in.
I think the senior players he'll listen, to Sinfield or to Hetherington, whoever's going to appoint the next coach, because certainly the senior players listen to David Ferner getting the sack. So I think the senior players and most of the players want Richie Agar as the coach.
I know.
Give him the job for
Bit of
me.
a rumour about Danny Ward. Are
give him the
we
job.
reading anything?
Oh well, I'll tell you what a combination. What a combination. Richie Agar and Danny Ward, Leeds coaches. head coach and assistant coach. Boy, oh boy, I'm into that. I'll have some of that. I'll have some of that every day of the week.
I know Leeds is a completely different club to Wakefield. However, I have seen in the past assistants or caretakers rather do a good job in the short term and give them the job. The other Tony Smith and James Webster being two notable names on that list who failed as soon as they were given the poison chalice. This is the bit where we do the Women's Rugby League scores. Something's going wrong at Wigan. They lost to Cass. Cass are really good. You've seen 56-8. Having lost to Fev the week before, that's a big win for Cass, but something's going on at Wigan. I don't know what it is. No one tells me anything. Wakefield lost to York. York's first win of the season.
Yes, when we talk about the performances of the weekend, York's women have got to be up there.
Yeah, we're bottom now. Bottom of the league now.
Yeah, but
Wakefield 4, York 20.
hats off to York.
Leeds beat Fev 52-0 despite having no half-backs in the second half. Bloody Leeds winning everything. And Bradford 18, St Helens 34. Although those who watched on the Hour League app will think Bradford were winning early in that one because they couldn't work a scoreboard. But Saints did win that one. There's three teams at the top now in Bradford, Saints and Leeds, who in the Castleman Saints and Leeds rather. And it looks like Wigan will probably finish fourth. That semi-final between teams 2 and 3, if it is those two teams, will be an absolute belter.
Well, there's a possibility, isn't there, of a record women's attendance on
hopefully
Saturday
at Emerald Henley Stadium.
What's happening?
Cass are playing Leeds in a repeat of the Challenge Cup final. There's a standalone game at Headingley.
When's that, Phil?
Saturday at 1 o'clock. You got an invite?
I've got a date, haven't I?
You said you were going.
Why? You've got a date?
Well, I don't know if it's a date. Somebody said come along.
Well, I call it a date, so I'm going to go and watch it. What's her name? Donica, is it? What's her name?
Danica.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she calls it a date, but...
On Sunday it's Wakefield versus Bradford. Come on, Wakefield.
I saw the...
Couldn't wait at Bradford.
I won't be second, Rich. I saw the girl who badly broke her leg last week from there. Yeah, I saw the game on Friday night. She looks in good spirits, but...
She's supposed to have lost Australia.
She was supposed to be.
Long
So
recovery.
that's cancelled now.
For the time being, yeah.
That's a shame.
Wigan, York and Featherstone Saints do the games on Sunday. It's always when you look at the Championship and League One results and you get these things that say bracket no result, close bracket. There you go. But yeah, Cass marching on again, so I think they'll beat Leeds on Saturday. But I think Leeds are smart
You're
enough.
back in the playoffs, so
No, that's the thing. I think
problem.
Leeds are smart enough to know that
It's like history repeating itself. This.
men, women, it's all the same. Isn't
Yeah.
it? You know what the big game is, and Leeds, as they proved in the final, big game players. Hope it's a big crowd on Saturday.
Yeah, I do.
And we haven't spoken too much about the games yet, and I'm sure we will. But reserve grade's back. They announced last night who the teams were that were going to be in it. Interestingly, they've done it 4 weeks before relegation from Super League and said 11 Super League teams are going to be in it. So presumably, one that gets relegated is still going to have a reserve team in the reserve grade.
Why did
And 4 others, including Halifax and Newcastle.
Why did everyone get upset about one team being excluded?
Well, Keith, you might as well name them.
Why did everyone get upset about Keith? And use this as another stick to bash the RFL with for no apparent reason. The RFL are killing the game by not letting Keithley have a reserve team in the competition.
Well, the other team they didn't allow it.
Why is it killing the game not allowing Keithley to have a reserve team? They could still have a reserve team, just not in the competition. There isn't the competition now.
I don't know. I mean,
What's the issue? Keithley can't get crowns to the main game.
I haven't seen the standard of the
fair
Keighley
point.
reserve team either. You know, if it's bringing through a lot of kids from the area because they want to play, then they need to find a way of still keeping it going without it necessarily being in a league. But
Mate, I can tell you.
if it's just taking place from the open age amateur games,
it's not very good.
there's no point.
It's all right people saying, oh well, Team A has beaten Team X's reserves and Team X's reserves are in Super League and
the
Team
results
A's
aren't important.
It doesn't matter, does it? Exactly.
No, they're not important.
Whoever wins reserve
Where it
championship
does
is
matter
irrelevant.
is in the academy, and again we should pay tribute to London. And the last time I saw a league table, which might have been before this weekend's games, they were 5th. So if they are producing a quality of youngster at under 19 level that is holding their own with established Super League teams, that is absolutely eternally to London's credit.
So people need to pick the battles on things.
Come on then, let's pick a battle then with you, Shaw, like me and Phil.
Well,
How bad Wakefield now?
Well, we're rubbish, aren't we, at the minute?
Was you hasty?
No. I was going to be, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I was.
He did me a favour, I did him one, not letting him go.
Yeah, well, I was listening on radio and they were absolute dire. Absolute dire. And Hull were much better. Hull weren't much better. And do you know what? Well, I had to chuckle to myself as well. And I say Dicko, who does the commentary for Kurt Dicko, yeah. And
can we ban him from the show?
He's an employee of them.
I know he was a winger Dicko and what have you, and he made a massive statement by saying Hull, they'll go unbeaten now till the end of the season, and they're the only team that can beat St Helens in the grand final. That's what Dicko said, and to be honest with you, I started laughing.
Oh, he's listening to
I started laughing to you. I thought, why are you saying that? You know, because when you look, certainly the way that Wigan are coming up from there, and how do you think you can beat St Helens? What St Helens have done to you this season? Because listening to the commentary and also to some of the reports that I read, Hull were much better than what Wakefield were. To be honest with you, from there,
they had a purple patch of 3 tries in 9 minutes.
Yeah, because that was Wakefield's point from a point of view. Their defence was absolutely pathetic. But another thing I just want to say, and I know, but we know what happened with Wakefield a couple of weeks ago after being hammered. Was it at Wigan when they was allowed to go on holiday for 6 days and then a bit of relaxation? What do we say? Energise yourself. That big word in sport nowadays. Energise yourself. And what Chris Chester said after yesterday's game. Listen, we're all good friends with Chris, and he's done a great job at Wakefield from there. But so come out with a comment. We only need one more win for a survival.
They do.
Well, where are they going to get it from? Where they're playing?
Sunday.
They're not going to beat Hull KR.
Why not?
What, Hull KR will beat Huddersfield?
Hull KR will beat Wakefield on Sunday.
Okay.
Well,
Hull KR will beat Wakefield on Sunday by 16 points.
16? Not
Absolutely.
prediction time yet, is it?
Oh, I'm going early.
I think
he's gone to his head because Leeds have won.
Depends on.
His hair's gone from his head.
Leeds
It has.
If you're on.
Got to borrow a hat or something. Keep your
balaclava.
brains warm.
I obviously wasn't.
I need some socks on.
I obviously wasn't listening to Radio Humberside yesterday, but one could say that perhaps some people, when they're on local radio, play to an audience. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Hull know exactly what they've got to do, and they were absolutely devastated losing that semi-final. I think they'd earmarked themselves at the very least to get back to Wembley. And I think they've signed Savita Satai, who is just another big body to have around the club.
I'll tell you what.
I think they could win a playoff game against a team that are above.
But can they get what Dicko said? What they'll go unbeaten, get to the grand final, and if they play now, they can play for 80 minutes. Turn St Helens over.
Yeah,
Can you honestly believe that?
I am going to say what I've said to you all. Yeah, I think St Helens will blitz Warrington at Wembley. I don't think they'll win the grand final. I don't think they will.
Talking of St Helens and Warrington, obviously they met each other in what clearly wasn't a dress rehearsal. I listened to the commentary of our broadcaster, whose sole agenda seemed to be what a young team Warrington put out, acknowledging the fact that that was the first time they'd had two 17-year-olds in the team.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that Saints had as young a team out. I'm not sure St Helens were given enough credit for the way they played in the latter stages.
Is that not, again, when you and people will assess Justin Holbrook in terms of trophies won, but look at that team now. Look at that team.
Well, I think the other
they
thing...
rest players, you can't tell.
The other
They've
thing
got
that,
so many good young players.
One of the games they lost in London was because Jack Wellsby had a bit of a mare.
Yeah, he did. I was there. I watched that game.
And Jack Wellsby needed to have a bit of a mare to make him how good he was this week.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to credit them for continuing to play some of these youngsters.
That's a great thing what Holbrook has said. He's just lacking cool. What's wrong with him anyway?
He's done his knee.
So they reckon it might be a massive down for Wembley, but Holbrook says, I won't have any issues whatsoever by playing well because
I think that's the difference with the Austin issue with Warrington.
Yeah.
That he's already said, if Coote, who's probably been one of the candidates for Man of Steel this year, isn't available, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Whereas Warrington are going, let's keep quiet about Blake Austin, let's just sign Matty Smith.
Yeah, look, it's one of the, I agree. And what we'll say, Warrington did have some young kids playing, didn't they?
No, they clearly did.
But, and this is what I say about Wigan, and we'll talk about Wigan. I was there on Friday night. Their young players didn't get picked under Sean Wayne. All right, they might have got picked because it was an injury crisis. But the message is, well, you're here, and I think you're good enough, and I'll judge you like I judge everybody else. And if you play well, then you'll keep playing.
Yeah.
There's none of this, well, we'll pick you this week and then you're never going to be seen again. I watched some of them young players, right, on Friday. I've mentioned this before, I think I might have mentioned it to you a few weeks ago. Those forwards are brutal. They are nasty. They're horrible.
Mentioned it last party.
They are,
no self-respect.
Him and Tomkins had a set to. And the young kid went, you get it in again, I'm here. You get it in here. And it was like, and I just thought, wow, you know, they are, and now I would wonder, genuinely, I would like to know Adrian Lamb's thought process of what his best pack is. Because I think a lot of them young men are in it now. Because they have forced their way in.
The week before, very impressed with Liam Byrne as well. I haven't seen as much of Liam Byrne, but he came off the bench against Solon. You just went, okay.
They are the backbone of that side. And listen, don't get me wrong. They'll have some more weight as well in the wings.
Yeah.
They will have some more, but they are absolutely loving the responsibility what Lamb has given, but also too the love and the trust what Lamb has given. What as a player.
And then you look at your Ashworths and your Lees and
and Joe Bullock to come back in there as well. After his injury and whatever. So
the Saints
for middle.
That is just.
There is genuine competition for places in those clubs now.
Yeah, there is. There are. And that's not from going, oh hell, we've got a lot of injuries.
No.
I also
listen to that, lads. It's your go now, boys.
It's your turn.
I remember Sean Wayne said to me about a young kid, and I thought, well, he's been a bit hard. When he plays in the first team, he's judged as a first team player. The standard is there, and if you're at it, you're in. If you're not, then you go away until you're ready to come back. And you'll get in again.
You see, this is what I say every week from there, and I would imagine certainly the way that Wigan are, and maybe at St Helens, they will have a ball in there just to say, listen, you hit this marker, i.e., as I say, if you can get to certainly 7 consistently and 8 every week, you will be playing first team football week in and week out, whatever age you are. Yeah. And you deserve to stay there as well.
I think the other player that didn't get the credit he deserved in the St Helens Warrington game was Johnny Lomax. I just thought he was absolutely.
Do you know what Lomax is doing?
And what he's doing is he's taking the pressure off the kids. They can play, but if you need the big play, give him the ball.
Yeah, but what Lomax is doing, he's just going about his business nice and quietly, isn't he? That's all he's doing. Yeah, he's just being sheer quality, going about his business nice and quiet, and also as well, Danny Richardson has been very, very impressive as well because, again, I mentioned it week in and week out, they're playing with that right balance. One's taking responsibility, the new one's saying, don't give us 5 or 6 minutes, off you go then. But also, again, it's putting that confidence, putting that trust in the player who can do the job.
They were very honest with where he was at the end of last season. Sent him away to Lee to just remodel his game. When he's come back, he's known exactly what he's needed to do to keep that shirt.
To be honest with you, I saw him play at Lee 2 or 3 times, and going at Lee wasn't doing him any good whatsoever.
But he's come back.
Has it?
No, it wasn't.
Has it knocked him into shape? Yeah. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Yeah. And gone, hang on, I need to reassess here. I might have been the main man last year, I can't get in the team.
I don't want to be playing here much longer. I need to get back to where
I think, what's him play at Lee?
He's not the same player that he was last year. He's much more mature.
I agree. But you talk about, you use that word reassess. I reckon what he's done, he's realised being at Lee thinking, do you know what, if I don't reassess myself, i.e., in that St Helens squad being a St Helens player, then I'm not going to get back in that side. Not being a League player because he was awful being a League player. Again,
no, but I think
what he was doing, he was waiting. I heard a comment. I had a great comment yesterday watching the NRL about Cameron Munster. Do you know what Cameron Munster's philosophy is? Run with the ball first, kick it second. Most of our halfbacks, and Richardson included from there, they're just thinking, I'll wait till the 5th tackle and kick it. What a great philosophy that is. I want to run with the ball first, creativity with ball in hand, before I even think about kicking the ball. So Jake Truman, he's been doing too much of that from there. All our young halfbacks, it's simple. Get the ball in hand, be a bit loud, be plenty of communication, and you be the boss. And Richardson decided to do that as a St Helens player, rather than being in the League side.
Yeah. It is. Just going back to that Wigan, the running battle with Tomkins, Smithies and Partington, literally come on then.
I tell you what, that Smithies and the loose forward at St Morgan Knowles, them two, the 2 loose forwards, they are going to be.
That rivalry will be there for years.
They are simply. Do you know? I reckon it could be like a Mal Reilly and a Derek Turner. Back in the old days, that sort of rivalry, because they're both boy are the tough, but also 2 that like to play tough. But the added thing about it, they've both got great ball skills.
And they want an international spot. Brilliant. They want to be playing for. They might be competing against each other for Great Britain.
Do you know
which
what?
is exactly what we want.
I'd be slinging them around the place now. Sling them around because the kids are good enough. Absolutely good. You look at the way that Luke Thompson is. He's absolutely ridiculous. I know he's a little bit older and a bit more experienced, but these two youngsters from there, put them around from there. Because they want to be involved.
I say it's going to have a problem with him because I think he's out of contract in the next season. And he's going to go from being on 20 grand, I don't know what he's on now, to being one of the top paid players in the competition because he is at the minute one of the better players in the competition.
There's no choice
They're
about it.
going to have a problem there,
That's
aren't
the
they?
salary.
They are going to have a
Yeah.
problem there.
Well, Castleford have had it.
Yeah.
If you get a group of young players coming through together, they'll all want an upgrade, and in the salary cap structure you have to make a decision.
Well, to be honest with you,
Well, I don't think it's the offer will be there, but let's be fair, the NRL.
But to be honest with you, if the Aussies come calling, I'm afraid to say he's got to go.
Well,
Got to go. Go.
Can I mention the NRL because it always seems to have looked down on us, and I think they still to a certain degree.
Well,
but
the chairman of the Gold Coast said that when he took Justin Holbrook.
but
He served his apprenticeship.
I look at the loving for Graham when he's 400, and it was an acknowledgement he's played 400 first grade games, not he's played 200 not there, and he's actually played 200 here in the good league. It was 400,
and the way he played as well.
And the way they built him up, and I just thought it showed a little bit of respect. And I think these lads at Canberra.
It's the same with Josh Hodgson with his 150th.
Yeah,
magnificent pace on
yeah. Well, you know as well as I do. The Aussies give me more respect over there than what I get over here. And it's the same with Hanley. It's the same with Gregory. It's the same with Crooks. It's the same with Kevin Ward. It's the same with Fire. It's the same with Joe Lydon. Hugh Waddell, who was a massive success. You could go back a few years, i.e. Mal Reilly, Dave Choppers, Brian Lockwood, Steve Norton, and Stephen Acid, Davey Bolton. You could go the respect what we have.
Stevenson.
Steve, absolutely. So the respect what we have from the Aussies, it's far better than what we get from us old people.
What I mean now is that they're going to be taking even more now.
Oh, without it,
because they know what
no two ways about it. And to be honest with you, I encourage it because it makes them better players, because they're playing against better players week in and week out. He will be hitting that consistent. Well, he's doing it over here, but it will make him even a better player, where he will be hitting that consistent 8 out of 9 every week because he's playing against quality week in and week out, and it's only good for our international game. Only good for our international game.
That's the thing. You can accept that because we don't want to lose all the stars from our game, but by the same token, we found a Morgan Knowles from virtually nowhere. There'll be another one. So we've got to back ourselves to keep on talent. But imagine what our international team is going to be in the next year or two. And that when the World Cup comes round, not only will it be exciting to see the likes of Sam Burgess pulling on a shirt on soil over here, but we might actually win.
And that's the big thing, isn't it? People who watch the cricket, they don't know where any of the players play, do they? Which counties they play for. They're not interested. They just want to know that England have won something. And then move on to whatever the next.
Well, I'll tell you what as well, if we look at the success, and George Williams now is going to Canberra, and it's not many times where, there's been many years since the back's been asked to go out there. Back in
He's got a great try on Friday.
George, but if he can, make it out in there as a back from there, he will then realise, from a point of view how tight the defences can be, but at times, work out from a numbers game from there, and work out when it's time to run with the ball and time to kick the ball, i.e. as Cameron Munster has done from there. The philosophy is simple. I want to run and create with the ball first before I even think about kicking, and that will bring George a far better player. And if you think about it, we get a quality scrum half with him. We've got some great outside backs. Look at Makerson, the way he's playing, scoring tries. We don't have a problem at full back. We don't have problems with wingers. Forwards, not an issue. We can bash the forwards in the Aussies and the Kiwis. Who knows? We could win the World Cup in 21.
Two things. One on Makinson's try. Hats off to Ben Thaler for not referring it to the video stream. And all the people that booed and said he should have done, then saw the replay of it and went, that was a good decision. The other thing is, you were at Wigan, you talked about how fantastic these young kids are coming through. If you're Chris Radlinski, do you renew Sean O'Loughlin's contract, or do you just say, look, we're going to have to upgrade all these kids? Thanks, Sean. Come on, coaching staff. But
that is a very, very good point.
Now is the time that we're going to have to be considering that.
Very good point. And again, I was said about Sinfield earlier, and credit to you. You know what, Wigan have, and I mentioned this on the radio the other night, we were laughing at Wigan a while ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you look at them now,
and you'll
they've sorted their coach out, their recruitment has been top draw. You think fair play. You know what? And this is why I'm confident in saying I think St Helens are going to have. Whoever gets in that top 5 now on their day will be able to beat St Helens.
Right, who do you think the grand final's going to be now?
Well, I think that's very difficult to say, Gary, because
we don't know
second play third in the playoffs. We don't know who's going to come second or third yet, do we?
Yeah.
It could be anyone who's in that top
I think the second and third is going to be Wigan and Hull. I think with Blake Austin missing Warrington are just going to fizzle out badly.
Right.
So that's what I think my top 3 is going to be. And then 4th and 5th, I think Catalans are gone. So you're looking at Warrington, Salford, and Cass. Yeah, I do for the 4th and 5th. But I think the top 3 is Saints, Wigan, and Hull. I do. And the grand final, Saints and Wigan. I tell you what a grand final, because you're talking about the forwards. Aren't they going to rip into each other? Are they not? Are they going to rip in? And do you know what? I'm just hoping that whoever the referee's going to be on that night, if it is a Wigan Saints, let's just let them rip in. Let's see it.
The one thing we do know is that while Steve Ganser has issued this statement today, the rules will change for the playoffs anyway. 3/4 of the things people are getting penalised for.
Well, they don't. In the playoffs, referees don't take cards.
We'll see it at Wembley.
Only in case of an emergency. He's got an hammer in his back pocket in case he's got to break the glass.
So we're talking about you think that Ulkinson Rovers will get beat by Wakefield on Sunday. How do Ulkar do? I know Maguire was missing. How do they do?
Played
well in the first half, didn't they?
Defensively brilliant. They had to do a lot of defending in that first half. They kept themselves in the game. Yeah. The one worried out about Ulkar, but then again, I've seen Wigan do this for the last 5 years. Second half, they're just too strong. Yeah. They're just too big, they're too strong. Yeah. Every tackle is like a world war's happening.
Yeah.
You know, fair play to Kyle Trout as well, signed from Dewsbury. He was one of Royals' best forwards. He didn't take a backward step.
Good.
He got stuck in, so fair play to him. They just ran out of gas. They got gassed.
Which they've done a lot this year. Is that going to count against them in the final running?
Fingers crossed.
The problem I have with Hull KR, right, is that everyone keeps telling me they're going to be alright because they play alright. They didn't play alright against Huddersfield at home, they got beaten. Now they went to Leeds and blitz Leeds. If that Hull KR turns up, I'm with you, they'll win by 30 if that Hull KR turns up. But I think under pressure. They got away with it against Cass the week before because I think Cass threw the game away at the end.
A bit harsh that, but I thought Ulkar showed.
Well, Metalti missed a kick from right in front of the post and it win the game.
It was 30 out, and the win was against. It was 30 out. The mess took with a field goal.
So they should have won then.
Castleford should have won. But what I say about Ulkar is they showed plenty of character. Do you know what I mean? The senior players told us to be fast at half time. He said it himself in the press and in the sponsors room. You know, I said to the senior players, I had a few of the senior players I know and said, listen. It's your time today. It's your time in this 40 minutes. I need something from you.
Don't worry, I don't know the exact.
And he got the character.
I don't know the exact run of Tony Smith's results, but I'm pretty sure it's
lost one win.
Yeah, they're all two.
So they are due a win, but that's just to me they can't back up.
But do they have to?
They put in a big effort last week. You know, they did put in a big. I'm not going to knock the effort. The effort was fantastic. Yeah. And what did them in? Coming out of their own half set now, 2 forward passes and a drop ball, and Wigan scored 3 tries.
And that's what did it. They have got that in them. You know, Big Buster saw dropping the ball. When they played Cass a couple of weeks ago, 12-0 easy, absolute cruise it then, as you mentioned, they're just schoolboy mistakes. Errors what you've got to expect. Yeah, they have got in him. But
they've got some of their big players back this week. Garbutt's back.
Yeah, but if Danny Maguire doesn't have a great game, I'm not sure they've.
Danny's picking his chooses games now, so he'll be alright. So they play Wakefield. How can Wakefield beat Ulkar the way Wakefield are playing? They're garbage.
Well,
let's say Wakefield.
Well, first of all,
he's got to agree, surely they're garbage.
Well, crap. Yeah. First of all, a couple of things. One, why don't Wigan just sign Sean O'Loughlin on one of those deals like Chris Radlinski, where he don't get paid to play, and then can just play whenever he does. Or does that rule not allowed anymore?
Assistant coach.
Yeah, do that again and screw someone over.
Go on, forget about Charlotte. Talking about Wakefield, how could they beat Ulkar?
Well, Steve's been on saying if Wakefield get relegated, will they come back into Super League? We're not getting relegated, Steve, because if you look at the league table, London still have to pick up a win from somewhere, and there are 3 teams on 18 points: Wakefield, Hulkington Rovers, and Huddersfield.
It all centres around, can London get 2 wins? It needs to be 2 because of their points difference.
I look at the players Wakefield have brought in, and I can't remember which team we were talking about. Well, I think it was Saints and Boyton about players in the squad providing competition. Chris Green is in the Wakefield squad to provide competition to the forwards, as is Adam Tangata. It was interesting at the press conference last week that Chris Chester pretty much said he named names of players who needed some competition in Fafita and King, and I can't remember who else it was. It might have been Kopchak.
Yeah, but he also said that he was disappointed with the intensity he was getting off his bench. But he said after the game this week, he was disappointed with the intensity he was getting off his bench.
I tell you what though, yeah, but when you talk about that, they brought that Tangata from Halifax and sent Hurst the other way. Keegan Hurst for me has been one of Wakefield's best players.
Nah, I don't think he has.
Well,
He hasn't got.
Well, when I've seen him play for Wakefield, he's always been alright with me.
They've got no punch. They've got no punch. I'm not saying Keegan Hurst's not a good player. He's done a good job at Wakefield.
I think he's done a good job.
He's a tryer.
But he's a workhorse rather than a game changer, if that makes sense. And they need some game. They need some game changers.
Well, let me tell you this then. I'd have him than what Kopchak is.
Nah, you're talking out your backside.
I think if
you're talking out your backside.
So I brought.
Well, you must be watching a different place.
Well, I probably watch them a bit more than you are.
You must be watching a bit different to me. Then.
Brought in 2
How long does Kopchak stay on the field for? He stays off for about 10 or 12 minutes, then he's off.
I don't know. Is he injured? You don't know he's not injured. He has been injured.
I would have Keegan Hurst before him. I would.
And, as JD said to you last week, that's probably why you're not coaching anymore.
Brought in 2 forwards. Brought in Ryan Atkins, who I don't know what Ryan Atkins is going to be.
Is he allowed to play? No.
Yeah,
I just don't know why he's going to play. I can understand why he's a local lad coming back into the squad. And
there was some criticism of Chester for putting Escaray on the wing, but I think I can understand why. If you bring a player in who is a fullback, do you want to put him in that position when he hasn't played for a while and doesn't know the way Wakefield's systems are? I mentioned in the press conference again that Escaray was having to learn how they defend in a different way to how Wigan defend. So do you throw him in at fullback straight away? I don't know, but people are going to criticise Chris Chester for whatever he does at the moment.
He didn't have to play at fullback.
He did, and then I think they switched halfway through or something. Or Hampshire went to the house. I wasn't there, so I don't know, but.
Yeah,
there is an element of the Wakefield support which wants Chris Chester out right now, and I just think, and I look at this and I go, well, A, who are you going to bring in? Because you want Jason Dimitri, whatever, it ain't happening. You talk about bringing in John Keir for crying out loud. Bradford, if you watch Bradford this year, and that's not, again, for all those who report back, it's not a criticism of Bradford as a team or a club or whatever. We'll do that another day in the near future, won't we? But, look at the world around you. There's no one out there who can come in and change the way Wakefield play.
Not
because
they are allowed, a bad year.
Of course they are.
They're allowed a bad year.
They've had 2 good years.
They've had 2 very good years.
Off the back of about 10 bloody
and there's not many people that weren't predicting them to do all right. I think they've underperformed badly. They got a lot of injuries at the same time. And they haven't dealt with that.
And the star guy they bought to make a difference hasn't been able to.
No, he hasn't. And they have struggled. And I think this last 6 weeks, they've almost got caught up in the media hype that, you're the team in crisis. And it's like, oh, God, we're not doing well, we're not doing well. You look at the players in the city, they've still got some good players there.
Well,
I'm not having this. Right. I think I'll tell you now, right, if they survive this year, they'll be in the top half next year.
Danny Brough, right? What would you do with the halves at Wakefield? Danny Brough is the best half-back Wakefield have got. He's playing crap at the minute, or whatever you want to say. Crap's probably a bit harsh, but you know what I mean.
Is that on the Brian McDermott 2?
What did he get in League Weekly this week? No.
But before at the start of the when we were good at the start of the season, Danny Brough was good when he wasn't getting sin binned. He got a 6. Jacob Miller got 6 as well. Do you change?
So you need an 8.
Chris Chester played alongside Danny Brough, didn't he, at Hull? And has obviously wanted to bring him in at the start of the season because he knows the Danny Brough who can win games, because we saw it at Huddersfield, we've seen it in the past, and he must believe that at some point Danny Brough's going to win that game. Does Danny Brough, and gambling on the fact that he may well do what Chris Chester thinks he will do, is that a better option than changing that half-back partnership? And all you can do is put Ryan Hampshire there, because Ben Reynolds has gone. Who else is there? What do you change? Do you stick on
I'll jump in before Gary has his say on that. Is Danny Brough's under contract for next season. If you drop him now, Danny Brough is going to be no use to you next season. So you are, I don't know what he gets paid. You might be making £100,000 decision for the sake of 3-4 games. I don't know. What would you do?
Well, one of them's got to go. And when I was listening on radio yesterday, Miller scored his try and the fans were booing him. the fans were booing Miller. So
I can't.
Yeah, but is that the whole? That might have been the whole fans.
No.
That might have been the whole fans.
Right, hey, hold on. The commentator, our great mates, even, hold on, I'm only repeating what he said from there. Right.
Hang on, the people who sit in front of the commentators on
yeah, they boo me, even though I'm not even there doing that. But anyway, I wanted so you're asking in the question from there now. So who would I drop? I tell you what. That's a $22 question for
$22.
Well, whatever.
That's a failed case.
I think in Belle Isle, that's a lot of money.
I think me and Rich might be a couple of together.
It's a $22 question from a point of view. Who did he drop, Bruffy or Miller? But the situation is, I've got a fistful of dollars.
There you are, that's the headline for the podcast. What's the $22 question?
The situation is, one of them has to go.
I don't agree.
One of them has to go.
I think you picture
there's no balance. There's no balance there.
According to Chris Chester and looking at the league table, they need to win one game, and ideally for them that game needs to be next Sunday because they're playing
against. They're not a big hulk, yeah.
But I think that you've invested in these guys in the 6 and 7 shirts for a reason, and the reason is that you need them to do it when it really matters.
All right, and so after round 25,
I don't think there's any. Right. I don't think they can put.
Right. Well, we're into round 25. They're in a position for this reason, and it's quite simple. All right, the half-backs, as we all know, can't work without the forwards making some decent yards. But the forwards have been half decent, I would say. They should produce it better than what they are producing. One of them has to be dropped. And as I said,
and who do you put in?
Well, for me, to be the happiest and to get the best out of the Wakefield players, I would drop Bruffy.
But who would you put in? If you drop him, who are you bringing in?
Well, you need a support player half-back, and that's it. Hampshire. So you put Hampshire at 7, and all you say to Hampshire is simple. You're just a half-back. You're just a half-back who supports you. Just keep moving up and down the field, left, right, and centre. And Miller, he is the main organiser.
Can Hampshire do that?
Yeah, I think he can. Yeah, of course he can. He loves support playing. You know, he does that as a fullback from there. So I would play Hampshire at 7, Miller as the main man at number 6, and I think Wakefield could maybe get the result.
3 people have tweeted, sending messages rather, no booing of Jake and Miller. So I don't know who was saying.
Well, that's what. Well, listen, I want to say it.
No, but they were obviously.
I don't make things up.
No,
I don't make things up. But also to another situation here for me for Wakefield, and I say we changed it.
The ref, that's what happens.
And it's like what we said about Leeds a few weeks ago. Leeds have realised in the relegation battle. Chelsea's trying to deny the fact we're having no talk of relegation in the dressing room. You better realise in the relegation battle because you are in a relegation battle. A massive relegation battle, and to say we only need 1 out of 4, well, that's just telling me you're banking on the London victory.
And you might actually need 2 out of 4 because we don't know what London are going to do. London could go to Catalan on Saturday and win. They've already won there this year.
I'll tell you what, if they do win, they won't be many getting much sleep at OKR or Wakefield on Saturday night.
A lot of what happens with those 2 clubs is not about whether they win or not, it's about whether London wins. Because that ratchets up all sorts of pressure.
We've not given enough credit to Hull, apparently.
Hull won. I've on social media. I think Hull could win the competition. What more do you want me to say?
Karen says Hull weren't allowed the injury excuse last year. Wakefield were overrated at the beginning of the year. Depends on the injuries. I don't know.
I think we all worked on the fact that Wakefield had finished 5th in
I didn't say Wakefield had finished. I think I took Wakefield 8th. I didn't think we were going to get 5.
I thought they get 5th.
You did, yeah. Richie, you did, didn't you?
I said Wakefield this year. I think I tipped us on a 6th or 7th. But we said at the start of this year that the table would be extremely tight because you've got a couple of good teams and then a lot of teams who are muchness. And lo and behold, apart from the fact that Hull and Wigan are starting to pull away from the pack now as Salford, Cass and Catalans are, but like in the last few weeks, up until then, it has been very tight in the middle, hasn't it? And there hasn't been much between. Well, look at the league table. There's as many points between St Helens and Warrington as there are between Warrington and London, which I think tells you something about A, St Helens, and B, everybody else.
Fair point.
But if Wakefield went down, they'd go down. C'est la vie. So kick off and
who's in the worst position, you reckon, Wakefield or Huddersfield?
Huddersfield are below us on points difference.
I meant more metaphorically.
I am going to say
because you've seen.
I'm going to say Huddersfield because I'm not sure Huddersfield have got the tools to get the points they need.
Do you think it's significant that everybody recruited bar Huddersfield?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Where's Kevin Brown going? Might be going to Huddersfield.
It could be going to Huddersfield. But has the deadline passed?
Well, he already signed his deal. It just hasn't been announced. That's what I've been told. We'll see.
How can that be?
Well, no, it depends where he's going, I guess, doesn't it?
What is Lee Warrington now?
I am under the impression that Kevin Brown has signed at somewhere else for the rest of the season because he's been signed off at Warrington, so therefore he can't play for Warrington.
Oh, they can't re-register. All right, okay.
So I don't know. You asked me the question. I think Huddersfield are in deep trouble. I think if they don't beat Castleford this week, they desperately need Catalans not to be in the top 5 when they come.
St Helens for their
Away,
next 2 games,
away.
and then Castellan at home.
Yeah.
Is that their fixtures, Huddersfield? Catalans,
Yeah.
Hull and Saints.
No,
away.
Castle. Yeah, we've
Got
got
Castle-
Castleford.
Yeah, I'm at the Castle game.
Holloway.
Yeah.
Saints away, and then Castellan at home.
Yeah.
Last game of the season, Catalans at home.
So that might be the ace in the hole, if you like, the 2 points. Because
But it also might be that Castellan need to win that to get in the 5.
Yeah, no, they do. So you're looking further down the line. It might be London have won another game and it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure. When Huddersfield have won, when they won at Hull KR, they won by playing a pretty gritty, determined, tight game plan.
Yeah.
That's not going to beat a good
along.
team. That's not going to beat a good team. And that's the worry that I've got. And I think it was written on Saturday, again on the what's the video I asked, it was written all over his face, Simon Wolford. He knows. He knows they're in
A, he
trouble.
hasn't got the tools, but B, he doesn't know what is best to do.
Yeah, but
Well,
also-
I think because he knows he hasn't got the tools, he's almost risking losing some of his tools by trying to mix and match and shuffle
But
it
also,
around.
well, you can't be having Gaskell at full back.
Well, all right, then there's the point. Chester's getting done for playing the same team.
Yeah.
He's changing it every week, and yet the results are exactly the same. Neither of them can find the wins they need. What happens? Who's right? Who's wrong?
And Hull KR are looking to use the resource that they've got sparingly.
Yeah.
Almost like they're.
But I think that's a good. I think that's the right thing to do. I think that's the right. I've said it before. If I'm in the charge at the bottom, and I'm going to St Helens, I'm not bothered. We're not going to. We could play really well and lose by 1
Yes.
or
So-
lose by 30. Who cares?
Doesn't make any
Let's
difference.
go for next week.
Yeah.
You know, the trouble is for these lads now. They've got to win now. Because you can't go, well, we'll win next week.
That's-
If the other team
it's
wins, you're
nothing
knackered
to-
even further.
It's
now.
nothing to do about effort anymore.
They might be any good. Grabbing them
And I just didn't see enough yesterday.
Can London win 2 games?
Yes. Will they? No, I don't think they will. I think the points difference
Yeah.
is going to save Wakefield, Hull KR, and Huddersfield because it is in effect London have got to win 1 more game than them. So if Wakefield do win 1, then London have got to win 3. I'm
Out
not
of
sure
4,
they can
which
do
they're
it.
not going to do.
But if London go to Catalans and win this
Yes,
week, then
that
it is
changes the
it is
whole
game
dynamic.
on.
It is
Well,
game
and,
on.
and the really,
Yeah, boys.
I don't know how it's happened, but the 2 best games this weekend are on Sunday, and London are playing Saturday night. The pressure that would put on the Sunday games if London win.
But at the same
Would be
time, if they lose
enormous.
by 50, there's
Exactly.
a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
I think we just need a win. You know.
Yeah, but Huddersfield are playing Castle on Sunday, and Castle need a win to get in the 5. You know, so
Yeah, but they're not playing great by their own,
they're
by their own coach's
they're
ambition.
not playing
so-
great, but they still need to win.
Well, they said they need to relax. Has he been trying to put too much pressure on them, or? That was an interesting comment from Darryl Powell. We changed it this week. Told them to relax a bit more. Maybe he's not flogging them as much as he has been doing, or.
Can't seem to be.
See,
upset.
their points difference is bad for them.
Yeah. But they're not convincing at the moment. That's the only thing
They
about
haven't been
Castle.
all year, have they?
No. And if you're going into the end of the season and trying to break into the top 5, Salford are playing with a degree of confidence.
What Salford's for last 4 games, have they? Who have they got this week? Salford this week.
Salford are at Leeds, I know that, penultimate week of the season.
What are you about fixtures at last?
Salford,
Yeah, who have they got left?
Salford have got Hull this week, then Warrington after the cup final,
then Leeds.
and then Leeds, and then they're at home to Hull KR. Now, if Hull KR are safe, that
Yeah, they're on the ball, yeah,
should be a gimme, shouldn't it?
No, the Suntan lot should have won.
No, they're only
Yeah.
for safe,
Yeah.
you'd think.
Yeah.
So, there's so many things could happen.
Yeah, but it all revolves for me around London.
Yeah.
Can they
Well,
win,
London have got
can they
London.
win 2 games?
Well,
London
what they
got
have
to look
done
at
is
as well.
they've kept the race going. We've said every time
Yeah.
they win a game, it almost adds a month onto everyone else's season.
It's just
They win again, and this is going down to the last week
Yeah.
of the season.
Although I just think they need to win this week to keep that pressure on for.
I think they need to win this week or next week, or they are doomed. Yeah, I think you can't.
Because then, even if they beat Wakefield or Hull KR, the points difference will still keep the gap.
Might have gone. Yeah, but they're in the race.
We never thought they would go down to 4 games from the end.
Would you? Go on, what did you say? Someone's upset then?
Yeah, because we're defending Wakefield.
Why are we defending them?
I don't think we are.
I'm not defending Wakefield.
Tends to be short. Go listen to Radio Merseyside. It's all right, there for you. Championship this weekend, because we haven't mentioned that at all.
Yes.
Yeah. Shock news is Toronto winning a game not on TV, 56-6.
Don't talk to me about that.
Oh no. Barrow 22, Bradford 46.
Victory, though. I didn't see the team that York took out.
Although York flew in the day before, apparently. Which is somewhat unusual.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rochdale go there this weekend.
And then Barrow.
Well, shame that's not on TV. I can't believe anyone would want to watch Rochdale. As we said last week, who chose to put them against Lee on the app, and why didn't they change their mind? We said that on Friday. We said that on
that our league stuff
really
does need. It
you would
needs
say
addressing. It needs addressing.
Also, by the way, as well, on Friday night, Sandy was there from Toronto, and had a good 15-20 minute ear bashing again. And actually, to be honest with you, I had a bit of a save because her husband was there. So I said to him, "Listen, mate, you know."
She listens to the show.
I know she does. Yeah, she
You met our mate Alex, though, didn't you?
She doesn't mind. Who?
Alex, the young
London fan wearing the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
And a picture with him.
Yeah, the picture of him just outside the Sky. But yeah, but Sandy.
You're in the pub again, were you?
No, I'm just coming out.
Skyrock, it's got good reviews, the Skyrock, isn't it?
Oh, Skyrock's spot on. Don't worry about that. But yeah, but Sandy, I say, it was just a 20-minute ear bashing, and I must say, you know, the husband was a saviour, you know, and I do feel sorry for him.
Sandy, if you listen.
I do. But Sandy, you know, I tell you what, she's doing a great job. She loves the rugby league, and tell you what, if everybody was like her, there wouldn't be any problems, because she loves the game, and most importantly, she respects the greatest game of all.
Apparently, I didn't give enough credit last week for Toronto getting 200 fans to Bradford, so apologies.
We did. We mentioned that.
Yeah,
no, apparently we did.
Yeah, we did.
No, apparently we didn't. It was my fault.
We did. I was at the game. We did. We mentioned it.
No.
Yeah, we mentioned it because we mentioned the great job what Sandy were doing, didn't we? That's what we did.
We're too quick to move on to talk about George Flanagan attacking someone's testicles.
Which he did.
Which he did.
I think Toulouse and Lee are safe in the playoffs after their victories. I've a feeling that Featherstone's victory means Bradford aren't going to make it, even though mathematically they still can.
Well, Fev play York this week. So, depending on who wins that, all of a sudden it would get very difficult. And Bradford have actually got some very winnable games. I think they end the season playing Sheffield. So,
but I think we've got the top 5.
Do you think that's? I think one might slip. Well, I say one might slip out. It can realistically only be York or Featherstone.
It's interesting how it's interesting. Or it's not interesting, is it? Are Barrow doomed to relegation? In fact, they've let one of their players leave to go to Featherstone today.
Jake Spedding.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Good player as well.
Yeah,
St Helens when he was a young kid and played at Sheffield, I think.
Should point out because you just mentioned the app. The cost of streaming sport on an app or on a blanket streaming service is not necessarily the same cost of streaming something to broadcast quality. Remember when we did the Challenge Cup final last year?
Yeah.
I don't know how much it cost to put that production together, but it probably wasn't that
Not
much.
a great deal. Not a great deal.
I'm not saying you didn't get value for money, because I think they got more than their value for money, which was £0 they paid for, or whatever it was. When the BBC did the Women's Challenge Cup final this year, on the red button on the website, it was a higher level of production.
Yeah.
Because if you're going on to television on the red button or just on the BBC website and they're behind it, it's going to cost you more. So the cost of doing something on the Our League app and the cost of doing something to a higher standard of play. Say the Toronto games on Sky last year, when they got to the £1 million game, people at Sky had to make sure it was of a higher standard because it was going to be seen by more people, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just to let people know.
You pay for what you get. I think that's the.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Fabulous performance from Featherstone. Be interesting to see how dual reg works in the latter stage of the season, because if Leeds are safe, will they allow all their players to stay at Featherstone, or will they say we want to give some of the young lads like Alex?
Well, we talk about the running. Leeds go to London. If Leeds beat Saints on Thursday, their season is done. It's mathematically done.
And they can't.
They're safe now.
Can't make the playoffs.
Do they then go, tell you what, you can have all these lads. Rest of you lads, you go get your treatment, what you need, and we'll go to London with half a team.
Colin McLeod.
We had the 54th Heavy Woolen Derby
of the season. Yeah.
Well done, Batley.
Toulouse beat Widnes on the. I didn't watch it, but Widnes just hoping that Barrow don't win any more games, aren't they? In a minute, and they've got that big game. As someone pointed out, I can't remember who it was on Twitter last week. Widnes may have been a team who may have done a lot of business out last week, but because they've got Wembley, they couldn't. I think Sheffield are in the box seat, aren't they, for that final? Because it looks like they might not make the top 5, but
a decent win at Halifax.
They did.
Very good win. Keeps what it kept their season alive, didn't it? Let's put it that way. It's given them a chance.
Has Fax's season kind of been overplayed because they got to the semi-final of the cup competition where you only have to win a couple of games rather than their league performances on the whole?
I think it may have affected their league performances as well. I think that's one of the problems with having such a gap between the quarters and the semis, which doesn't work for anybody.
I just think they've not been good enough.
They've not been.
We said it right at the start. It felt like something wasn't right at Halifax, and I think that's been proved out.
Tell you what, big disappointment in League One because Cod was 16-0 up at North Wales and lost 33-16. So that's no good.
A great result for Oldham, though.
Yeah, 28-20 over Newcastle,
which puts Oldham second. But the announcement that Scott Naylor's leaving at the end of the season. Rumours to be going to Salford.
Well, someone asked about Paul Rowley.
Yeah, it was on the back of the paper.
He was there. I saw him yesterday. I spoke to Paul. Just said he'd been helping out Ian. Since
they've lost Martin Gleeson.
Yeah, he's been
but I think they've
enjoyed it. I think he said he was enjoying himself. You know, getting his hands dirty again, getting involved.
I think they've earmarked Scott Naylor for next year.
Looks that way. Former Salford player, isn't he?
Donny beat London Scholars, who can't buy one at the moment, but nearly did win. 23-22 to Doncaster.
Well, the Wheels, they were top with 13 points. The Wheels have really fallen off, haven't they, at London?
Interesting Wakefield, as it's called.
Interesting thing for Scholars was that they took on loan Armitage.
Yeah,
the Rugby League player scored out, and apparently word coming back was boy can finish.
Well, he might be playing for London this week.
Yeah.
And Shot News is working to beat West Wales. So, but West Wales scored 22 points. They are getting better.
They are.
Craig says, York to miss out on points difference. They play Fevley, Halifax, Bulls have Dewsbury, Sheffield and Rochdale. By the way, Bilko sent us the run-ins in Super League and have retweeted it so you can see them on there.
I have to say, I've got a sneaky feeling, the Bulls are going to get in.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. And I felt like yesterday. I thought yesterday was such a big game for. If they lost, that was it. They were over, weren't they? They couldn't get in. I think they're going to get in. I genuinely do think they're going to get in.
It's a
so you think they're going to win their 3 games and York are going to lose their 3?
Possibly.
I think York will beat Halifax in their last game of the season.
Yeah, if they win their 3, they're only on 33 points difference, isn't they?
34.
Well, the points difference would be better. The points difference would be better when it's
winning 3. Yeah, because there's only 3 points between.
Speaking of signings, before we get on to the main part of this programme, I think it's in the paper today.
What's at the end?
Yeah. Exclusive in today's League Weekly by John Davidson. How does he get all these things?
It looks like he's a journalist.
Danny Cipriani, scourge of buses, as we of course mentioned. Danny Cipriani and buses, Ryan Atkins and Toby Carvery. These are the things we hang. Apparently, he's on his way to Super League. Or he might be on, well, the paper says Toronto. Steve says coming to Super League. Is he? Been dropped from, well, he's not been picked in the England Rugby Union World Cup squad, but I think there's a difference between Danny Cipriani and Luther Burrow, isn't there?
He's one of the Rugby Union players that Toronto have earmarked should they get promoted.
I'm sure he'd also...
but he's not the only one.
It's good for his agent that, of course, he can say, oh, these are...
No, I think Toronto have been in contact with.
Usually anyway, but we'll see what happens, won't we? Anthony Bill Williams, according to the paper. Anyone else that we've heard of?
Yeah.
We've heard of?
Yeah.
Mason Caton Brown. So,
not him, no.
Because Toronto, it's either good, it's good news and bad news in Toronto, but you know. But Danny Cipriani be any good?
I don't know, but I think it would be of crowd interest. I think when Burrell did his first interview, you know, there were a lot of people that put him in national newspapers, and we can't normally get that kind. He's got to now live up to it as a player, but I think Cipriani would certainly command some column inches. I think that it won't be
Well, I
bad
think it's
for the
fair to
sport.
say his international career's finished, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't think the coach that's currently there likes the way he plays anyway.
For the player, what he is.
I reckon if Scoy went and played alongside Cipriani, Eddie Jones would pick Scoy.
For the player, what Cipriani is, for him to have an international career, obviously, it's just he's off the field. I couldn't care less about that. The kid can play, can't he?
I think they told him to go away and play, and he's played and he's done well.
He's won every individual award, everything, even from his fellow professionals.
Yeah.
You know, that's the highest accolade, to get a Player of the Year.
Yeah,
and the coach himself, Eddie Jones.
Nicholas has also mentioned Ben Teo, but he's I think apparently getting interest from Eddie Hearn, so gonna miss out on him.
All right. Is that right, is it, or is that you just being...
No, he was in the Telegraph yesterday.
Was he going to be a boxer?
Well, no, a couple of England players were all having
Alright,
yeah,
very good.
good old England.
Ah.
Do you want to talk any more? Do you want to do the predictions?
Yeah, let's do the predictions. Right, we'll start off on Thursday now. Leeds against St Helens.
This will be quick.
Garrison.
Well, what's St Helens going to bring? As we all know, it's Wembley next week, so are they going to bring a side? Are they going to bring half a side?
Ray French might get again.
It'll be very, very interesting.
Former block.
But there'll still be quality saves. Well, they proved it. Everybody mentioned it last year that he didn't rest players. I think you may do the week before Wembley this week. It'll still be a quality side, but I just feel as though Leeds, if they are going to play St Helens, it's the right time, isn't it? And the way that the form have got, 2 impressive performances, not just with the ball in hand, but defensive wise as well. So I think Leeds will be looking to put a few more points on the board here. But if I'm honest with you, I think I'm letting my heart rule my head. So my heart's ruling my head. I'm going to Leeds to keep up the good work. Good work that Richie Agar's doing, plus as well what Richie Myler's doing. I'm going to Leeds by 14.
I think Saints probably will risk a couple. I think they'll bring a couple back who they need to show a fit, and I think they'll have a group of young players that are playing for maybe a place on the bench. So there'll be no lack of motivation amongst the St Helens lads. I think the most impressive stat about Leeds at the moment is only conceding 1 try in their last 2 games. And I think irrespective of who you played in those 2 games, at this time of the year, for your defence to be on, that's what's got them away from the bottom of the table. I think the advantage for Leeds is they know that the players are then going into quite a long break. There's some time off for them. They might as well spill everything out onto the field. So I'm going to go. There's never been a team going to Wembley that hasn't had half an eye on it being Wembley the following week. I'm going to go Leeds by 6.
Right, we don't know the squads, we have to say that, so when Saints name a full team or no team or half a team, I think the Thursday factor might mean he might take maybe 1 or 2 more than he would. Didn't play his strongest team last week.
No, he
didn't. Still beat,
and they were very good.
Warrington.
They were very good.
I think this is a chance for Leeds to put down a bit of a marker for next year.
Yeah.
Draw a line under this year. I think they'll win. There's nothing in it for Saints. It's all about what happens next week. They could win. They could beat Leeds by 100. If they lose at Warrington, it means nothing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely nothing. So I think Leeds will win it. I think it'll be quite tight. I'll go Leeds by 7.
So I'm going to go for Saints because they're the best team in the competition, even if they put the reserves in. St Helens A is getting ready for next season. Putting trialists on the
Is it like Jose Mourinho said? So he'd have gone, who can win Super League? He'd have gone St Helens, Hull, Wigan, and St Helens B.
Yeah. A another, B another, B trialist, A trialist, C trialist, Ray French. Ray French has made off Radio Merseyside. Alan Rooney. Everyone, Johnny Vegas, he's coming on. He's coming off the bench, giving him a bit of runs. Leeds played well last week against Catalans, but I think the season's over now. They've done what they need to do. They're not going to get relegated. I think the Saints will win. I think it'll be a narrow game. I'm looking forward to this one actually. Saints by 4.
Invariably, they are the most entertaining games.
Yes. It's not an anti-Leeds thing. I just think Saints are slightly better.
No.
But as you say, Leeds, yeah. But like Rod Studd, we don't know what the squads are, and they could just make them up anyway. He could name Johnny Vegas and not playing.
He could. Right, come on, let's crack on. Wigan against Warrington.
Yeah, Warrington. Well, they're missing the best player out the end. Wigan, just playing so well at the moment, as we've mentioned earlier in the show regarding the forwards. Absolutely loving getting ripped in, and Elderway is exactly the same to Warrington from there. Wigan are playing far too good. Williams is in his form. Wigan are getting ready for the semi-finals. I think the Wigan will beat Warrington quite easily. We all know they've got Wembley the week after. And win Wigan by 24.
I think it's a really good week for Wigan to be facing Warrington. I think in every tackle, all the Wigan forwards will be on. You think you're playing at Wembley next week? Have a bit of this. Perfect game. For their 55th clash of the year, it's brilliant. I can't see beyond Wigan. I just think there's a real steely determination about how they need to finish the season. This is a team that they're likely to be playing in the playoffs. This is put down a marker. I think Warrington will have half an eye on Wembley. I don't think they can afford to lose too many star men. Would you play Darryl Clark this week? I probably wouldn't. So I'm going to go Wigan by 60.
It's been a run from hell for Warrington.
Yeah.
They played alright, they beat Hull in the semi-final. They had to go to Catalans away.
In the heat.
Big physical game. Got beaten at home by St Helens. Now they've got Wigan, at Wigan.
Dropping out of the
Steve Price, for me, if he didn't have to go, wouldn't go here. This is a disaster waiting to happen. We don't know about what's happening with Austin. If he's injured, and I mean injured and not playing, I wouldn't play anybody in this game. I'd send the 19s and say, look, we're just going to have to take his medicine. I think they'll get well. I think I've watched Wigan the last few weeks. George Williams is playing great. Liam Farrell's playing great. The forward pack are immense. They're the champions, and they'll show why. They will win by 36.
The Pies have arrived. Wigan by 20.
Catalan against London, Saturday at 5.
Well, we all know the Catalans are a different side at home, aren't they? But London, remember how well they played a few weeks ago from there, won't they? They'll enjoy going there. Danny Ward will just want to go out there, play exactly the same, smile on the face. So if the Catalan Dragons' attitude is not there, then who knows? It could be a surprise. But the Catalans, they'll still be thinking that they can maybe make the 5 from there. But it won't be easy. It won't be easy, and he'll want to be responsible for McNamara after that pathetic performance last week against Leeds, even though Leeds did play well. I'll go the Catalans. I'll go the Catalans by 10.
It's a must-win for both of them in many respects. I think there's a credibility issue around Catalan at the moment, and Bernard will have waved his meat cleaver during the week, I think, down in Perpignan.
Is that a euphemism?
It could be.
What are the cow's testicles or the players?
We're about to gather the Springer again.
But I think they are a different side at home, as they showed against Warrington, and they will make it difficult for London up front. They will want to get a measure of redress for the manner in which they were beaten by London. They were brilliant that day. But I just think London looked tired, and no matter what Danny Ward says to bull his guys up, and he's done an astonishing job this year, he can't really change it, I don't think.
But he also can't say, I'll risk it till next week.
No.
Because if Huddersfield and Wakefield
one of the teams
win,
right above him is going to win.
He could be doomed, and that's the thing.
So I do think they will give it absolutely everything, London, but I think that the Dragons will win by 4.
I'd like to be as optimistic, and I've been a very pro London man all year. I just think they're gassed, and I think they get a week off after this, don't they?
But then so do Catalan.
Yeah, but
They had a week off last week.
Yeah. Oh God!
I
was going to say Catalan by a lot. I thought McNamara's post-match comments were interesting last week.
He was livid.
Yeah.
He was absolutely.
I'm not sure the players give a damn, to be fair.
No.
Not enough of them. Not enough of them do.
I'll say London. London by 6.
They can't be as bad as they were on Friday when they were disgracefully bad. And I saw Wakefield lose 100-0 in the Women's Challenge Cup to Cass, and Wakefield tried in that game. And maybe it's not my place to say this, but because I'm not an ex-player, some of those Catalans players didn't look like they were trying. You can't concede 32 points against a team with 12 men and say,
you said it now.
We're giving 100% effort. Yeah, I might have some French people after me on Twitter now. So
you clearly don't remember David Cruikshank being sent off against St Helens.
Catalans, they will come back and win this one though, just to allay the Catalan fans. So Dragons by 8.
Yeah, playing that game, and Cruikshank got sent off early doors, St Helens. Yeah.
Got 50. with 12 men.
Hull, Salford.
Interesting one, isn't it? Very, very interesting from a point of view where, yes, Hull want to making sure that they stay in first spot, and Salford, they like going to Hull, don't they? And they like to express themselves, and Watson's getting a tune out of them, isn't he? And Hull at this moment, yes, it's a semi-final. They're just grinding a little bit for me, aren't they? It's going to be a surprise this weekend. It could be there this weekend. I think they'll express themselves, Salford. Won't be much in the forwards. Salford by 7.
I think Hull can see this is the weekend they go second, and I don't think they'll let that opportunity pass. I think Salford have been an absolutely outstanding advert for getting the best out of what you've got this year, and I don't think their season's over. I still think they can make the 5 even if they lose this week, but I think this is Hull's. This is Hull's to say we're here, we're serious about getting to Old Trafford. So I'm going to go Hull by 10.
Hull got the worst points difference in those 3 or 5 chasing St Helens. I think Salford picked up a couple of injuries yesterday. Ian Watson said there were a couple of busted bodies, and he mentioned getting players back in a couple of weeks, not this week.
I'll change my mind, I want you to tell me that.
I think this is must win for Hull. I think if they want to come second,
Yeah.
there's no slip ups, and I think Hull just will win. I think Salford may look at this a week off to come, then Warrington will be either celebrating or busted after Wembley, and then Leeds and Hull KR to finish. I think they need 3 wins out of 4. Their points difference is so good. I think I will go Hull by 7.
Richie, I'm changing mine. I didn't know he's just I'm going Hull by 10.
Thin-skinned fans derby, this one. Slightly going to go.
Richie.
Please.
You love getting big things.
Yeah,
on social media, so keep going.
Hull narrowly. I think it's just
so that we've all gone against Salford.
Yeah.
We know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Salford fans, bring it on, bring it on.
Dr. Kukan,
You know where we
Come
are.
Sunday,
Dr.
you fill our timelines.
Yeah.
Doctor could tweet us and send us abuse about how we tipped Salford to be rubbish and something, forgetting that he put them in the position in the first place. He's taking all the credit.
He was on the pitch on Sunday before the game.
So what?
The doctor.
Again?
Yeah. Come on, anyway, we don't get paid all the time.
Bunch of morons. Hull by 8.
Very good. Huddersfield Castleford on Sunday afternoon. The legend.
Well, Mr. Wolford doesn't know his best side, does he? And he's got to sort it out very, very quickly. And he's still got to put Gaskell back at number 6. And I say when we play Holmes or Oliver Russell there, I'd be pretty happy whichever he selects from there. But Gaskell has to go at number 6 if they've got any chance of winning. Castleford Tigers, they're just going about it quietly, aren't they? They're not playing well, and Dowell said that himself, and he's not happy at this moment in time. But for some reason, they're finding a way to win, and I think they'll find that way against the Giants as well at the weekend. And I think it's going to be the Castleford Tigers by 13.
Not sure this is going to be a pretty watch. I think there's a fair amount of desperation. Huddersfield might revert back to their 5 drives and a kick. The last time they were at home, they were humiliated. Cass keeps saying they need a performance to take into the playoffs. Darrell hasn't been happy even when they've been winning with the way that they've been playing. I think again he's struggling, isn't he, to know either what his best team is or have enough players out there that he can have some competition for places. But they've probably just got enough. I think it'd be very similar to the Castleford London game this week, that it might be close for the first 40 minutes and Castle edge it in the second half. So probably Cass by 10. But it could go the other way.
Huddersfield should have beat Cass, something when they lost on Golden Point. Should have, would have, could have, didn't. But I think they'll keep it tight. They'll stick to their game plan. And I don't think Cass at the minute are in that kind of form where they can blow a team away. I think there'll be one score in it. If Cass are going to make the playoffs, they have to win. It's as simple as that. They have to win. They could, if Salford lose, as we believe they may on Saturday, Cass will be in the top 5 potentially with a win. Well, they would be with a win. Simple as that. Tight. I'm going Huddersfield's last stand. Huddersfield by 2.
Yeah, these aren't what we think, what we want to happen, are they? They're what we think will happen. Tipped Castle in a Hull game and they blew it, didn't they? Maybe a bit of reverse psychology. Huddersfield by 4.
Okay. Last one, Hull KR Wakefield. Scott, you've already said yours. Go on, repeat it for the listeners.
Absolutely, I just can't see how Wakefield can beat Ilkeston Rovers. Hull KR they've planned this game. They know they've got London at home. They're playing that as well. They'll just need the 2 wins to definitely make sure that they avoid relegation. And I just can't see how Wakefield can beat Hull KR on Sunday. I can't honestly, just cannot. Hull KR are ready for this. They'll batter Wakefield. They'll batter Wakefield by 16.
I don't see them battering them, but I do see them having enough quality out there to win this game. And whilst Tony Smith is not a coach that would ever pick one game against another, he genuinely does want to win every game that his team goes out and plays in. He will have 4 or 5 players back who are his top line players. He knows that this is the game. It's a cup final. And I think he'll just about have enough, and I think they'll win by 2.
It's interesting you mention that, right? Because you look at all Hull KR's big games in the last few years. And so the big Warrington in the semi-final. No one expects him to win that. They got humiliated at Wembley.
Yeah.
They lost a tight game against Huddersfield. If they'd have won it at home, they wouldn't have been in the £1 million game. They lost the £1 million game from an impossible position.
Yes.
You wouldn't have been able to get a bet on them at the position they were in.
But they didn't have Tony Smith.
And they lost. They lost to Huddersfield a fortnight ago. They lose important games. I think this is Wakefield's week. I think this is Wakefield getting safe. If Hull KR come out and play like they did at Leeds, they'll win easy. But I've only seen that team once, and that was away from home. Pressure's on at home. Everyone thinks Wakefield are doomed. I don't. I think there were flickers against Hull. Flickers. Not saying great. They've got enough to win. I think Wakefield win, and I think Wakefield win, and this is when Danny Brough repays that money. They win with a Danny Brough drop goal. Have you
been on the French beer today?
No, that's probably why I've done that. But
No,
no,
I was
going last one.
Have you not come from your holiday yet?
No.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, and I think that the one thing Wakefield having their change room, if he plays or not, I don't know, is Danny Kermond. He's been in those games where Wakefield have been fighting for their lives before, and I think the players will listen to him, even if he's not the captain these days. And I think it will be Danny Brough, former black and white. He knows they all hate Hull KR. They don't want to see Hull KR in the Super League anymore, apart from financially, of course, because that's important to Hull. So Wakefield by 1 as well.
And great stuff. And me and my mate can't wait for even more Wakefield in crisis. Come next week.
Hey! You really broke his shoulder.
This is why we enjoyed it when Leeds were crap.
Wakefield in crisis. More Wakefield in crisis next week when Hull KR beat you. Hit it, Phil.
It's only because Hull KR.
We'll do that next week.
Get the hospitality.
Get in touch at Forty20 Live. Subscribe, like YouTube, download the podcast. Thousands of you do it every week. We do appreciate each and every one of you. Like if we've offended you this week, no, well, we'll see you again at 6.